The city's still buzzing, but my spirit's done. All day long, I've been chasing the sun. Deadlines and voices crowding my space. So I light me a candle, reclaim my grace. Kick off my heels, let the rhythm spin. Soft jazz whispers where the chaos spin. Every sigh's a prayer, every thought's a tune. I find myself again inside the candid room. Welcome to the candid room, where my soul can bloom. No more noise, no more gloom. Just me and this groove. Raise your glass, let it soothe. Every scar becomes proof. When the truth feels like perfume, you're home in the candid room.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Hold on, let me get back in here. Y'all see me? Do you hear me?
We hear and see. Yes, ma'am. Yes, we do.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay. So this is a little different than our Lady Birds of AFN of Atlanta Falcons Nation. It's kind of a combination show. A lot of people don't know. I am a certified mental health coach. Where I do counsel lately it's been a lot of couples, but I mean individual people as well can come in and get some type of guidance, whether it's about your mental health, it can be about just organization, or just being a better you, not necessarily all the time just focusing on maybe you have like a mental health issue. It just could be you just need some guidance in becoming a better you, like I stated. But this particular episode, I feel, is very, very much important because it doesn't get talked about too often. And I was just talking to the guys early in the background where it was like, we have some individuals that kind of still look at this as something to joke about. And it could be just, I look at it as just something about their inner reflection within themselves. They're not comfortable with speaking up, because we're going to get into why that is the case. But in case you guys are new to this channel, for both channels, welcome to Atlanta Falcons Nation, as well as the Kandid Room, and that's with the Kandid. This is where we do mental health, my thing about the call, but mental health conversations. Now we talk about day-to-day life, so we can go from family structure on down. This one we're going to really dig deep into mental health in men, particularly because we've had some incidents that's happened where especially in the NFL, it's overlooked in the NFL, but a lot of these players get out here and put their life at risk. They're getting banged up. They're getting concussions. And CTE is a headliner of a lot of these injuries that happen, these brain injuries that happen. John Abraham is one that talks about it heavily because it affected him. He's doing really well, but he had to take initiative and seek some help for himself. So before we get deep into this conversation, I want to go ahead and introduce who I am. I am Maggie T. Of course, y'all know me, First Lady of the Lady Birds of AFN. And right next to me, we have Will the Thrill. How are you today?
I am not too bad. I thought that it was, to be quite candid, as I say, this is the Kandid Room, so I will always keep it 100. My mentals are not 100%, so all the more reason to get on here and really pull the band-aid off, break the fourth wall. Right. As a man and as quote unquote someone with a good grip of Scotland, I'm a big dude, not someone you'd want to meet in the gap, so to speak. But at the same time, you need to realise that nobody's bigger than the weight that life's gonna put on you. So that's what tonight's all about. So I'm glad to spend it with family.
Okay, I love it. I'm glad you are here, and I definitely want to give a shout out to the fans in the chat in a moment. But let's go ahead. Right underneath Mr. Will the Thrill, we got the cowboy, Mr. P. Tell us, on, everybody? How are you doing today? How are you feeling today?
Hey, I'm outstanding. If you see me here, I am great. I always wake up with the mentality of God waking me up, and I start with that first.
Right.
But I appreciate you having me here, allow me to be involved with this discussion. It is long overdue. We've talked kind of like off and on for a while about this discussion, right? So it's one of those things that we just couldn't keep silent about it anymore. So
Right.
I appreciate you having me on with this discussion. Like you said, I'm Cowboy from Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. Everybody in the chat, really grateful that you guys are able to be here and hopefully be able to share some of this insight that we're ready to bring to you.
Right. And I'm so glad you have it. Thank you guys. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Fandemic. Of course, he has amazing shows as well. And let's go ahead and Debo, how are you doing?
Yes,
I know it rearranged y'all a little bit when Mr. 330 came in, but how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, blessed and highly favored. Thank you so much for having me on the Kandid Room. You know what I'm talking about? It's been a minute. All
It's
right,
been a
where the Kandid Room been at? That's my question. You know what I'm talking about?
Speaking of mental health, I'm gonna be candid with you.
Okay.
I've been dealing with my own mental health.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
took
Okay.
a leave of absence from my job currently because as of December, I just, it was just some family issues was happening, and along with just my own mental and my stress levels with the job, excuse me.
Mhm.
And just personal things. It took a toll on me mentally.
Mhm.
So I did seek a therapist and a psychiatrist, and I'm kind of under care currently where I'm, medicine management, talking to support, and just trying to get my mental health back on check. So this is actually therapeutic for me. So I'm happy that we are, because yes, it's about males, but of course, everybody goes through something at the end of this conversation. It's not just women, or children and etc. So I think this important conversation needs to be had regardless of who it affects or not. Hey, Miss Pam. All right,
Absolutely.
330. How you doing? How are you feeling? Are you with us tonight?
Hello, Miss Pam. Auntie Pam.
Are you muted?
He might be muted.
You might be muted. Check your audio. Let me see.
He
I mean, it doesn't say
He might be really
Like he's frozen. Yeah.
he might be frozen. Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah.
drop him off until he can get. Yeah, it looks like he might be frozen. Okay, we'll come back to him.
Okay.
So, but that's 330. 330. If you can leave and come back, it could just be your connection, and try to come back in. So, but yes, this is our special episode of our mental health. I think I see him, but I think he's still frozen. So we'll give him a couple of seconds. Yeah, he's leaving. Great. We'll give him a couple of minutes. So while we're waiting on him, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our fans in the chat. And y'all make sure, please, because we need more eyes on this show. Share this out. Hit that like button. And at the end of the day, at the end of it, I want you to make sure you subscribe to all the people on this panel so you can hear some great content later on. But what's going on, Silk Legacy? What's up, Queens? I want to know what love is. I want you to show me what love is. You always got a song, Silk Legacy, and I'm glad you're starting to feel better. That makes my heart feel great with that. And what's good again is good again. Let's see who else is in this chat. We got Dirty Bird Fly Through. Oh yeah, let's go. Now, this is not the Lady Birds tonight.
Yes.
This is not the Lady Birds tonight. So it's going to be all fellas tonight, but I appreciate y'all tuning in regardless. And it said, what's up, Cowboy and Debo?
What's
going
on with you? Thank you.
What's happening? And Miss Pam, once again, hello, panel and first lady of AFN. Yes,
Miss
let's
Pam in the building. Love Miss Pam, man. Miss Pam.
All right, so I do hope y'all learned something from tonight's episode. So we get ready to get right into it. Let me see if 330 is in the back. I think I've seen him come in. Let's see. I think he's moving. Shake your hand. Move around. Do something. Okay, we got you. We got you. Wave your hands in the air like you just don't care.
Don't care.
There you go.
There you go.
Back in the room.
Hey, here we go. Okay, cause we gotta liven up the mood. We're gonna get some deep conversation in, but we also got to show that we're still feeling good today. 330, how are you feeling today? I'm glad you're joining us.
I'm great. First of all, shout out to all of the content creators that set these cameras up. You know what I'm saying? Get right, have your internet right, the cameras right, the light right. Just shout out to all of you guys, man, because I've just been running around trying to get this thing right, and I'm still not feeling good about it. But I'm here, and I'm ready to have this conversation. Yeah. I'm ready to have this conversation right here. This is a
there we go.
This is a greatly needed topic.
Right. And like I said, once again, we need everybody to share this out. If you're watching on Facebook, come on and join the conversation on YouTube. If you're watching on X, join the conversation on YouTube or wherever you want to, but leave some red and black in the chat, hearts, what have you. And take notes because it's going to be an educational episode. Okay, so we're not just going to talk about personal opinions about mental health. You know me as a coach, I always like to have some facts for you to kind of take from it. So screenshot it, learn from it, and let's do it. So we're going to get right into this conversation because, you know, I'm ready for this. So first topic we're going to talk about today is, excuse me. Hold on, here we go. Okay, so the thing is here. Why men are often taught to stay silent about emotions. And of course, I'm going to put up a little bit of piece here so you can kind of learn from it and everything. So I'm going to go into the why, then I'll get the guys to kind of chime in on how they feel about this explanation. And then we're going to go from there. Yeah. So, and I am blind as a bat. Let me put
Blind as a bat. Uh-oh.
I'm blind. I ain't gonna lie to you. I am blind. So I'm gonna have to put it up on my other screen here because I'm on my phone, y'all. So I'm, you know, visually challenged right now.
You make it do what do. You know what I'm saying? You make it do what do. That's all good.
Here we go. So, all right. So, why men are taught to stay silent about emotions, and of course, the source of that message is childhood and upbringing, family expectations, masculinity norms, male peer culture, so influence and your buddies, hey, you can't do that. Media and social images, fear of judgment, relationship dynamics, and survival coping. And son, cut that down. Bye-bye. I swear today is just today.
He jammed.
So the question is, you know, why? Why are men taught this? And said why are men are taught it is because they're told that boys don't cry. Oh yeah. Be strong, be the provider. Emotions equals weakness. Don't complain and tough it out. Men must be stoic. You'll be judged or dismissed. Of course, be strong, absolutely. Be the rock, don't show it.
Right.
And also silence control. Go ahead. There you go. Thank you. Bye. And then how does it show up? You know, when you're hiding all these emotions and things like that and staying silent. Emotional shutdown and hiding feelings. Pressure to suppress fear or sadness. Avoiding vulnerability. Bottled stress. Joking instead, of course. Unrealistic standards. Silence, isolation, feeling unable to fall apart, anger, withdrawal, and numbness. So I'm gonna leave this up here for the fellas. How are you feeling about this? And we started off with Debo vibes. How are you feeling about that?
That makes everything I'm looking right here. The chart I'm looking at right there is pretty much a observation of what guys should be. You know what I'm saying? Like men should be tough. Men should be this, men should be that. You know what I'm saying? And like men showing emotion can be misconstrued as weakness or prejudice. Now, what do I mean by that? When you judge somebody without knowing somebody, that's prejudice right there. So when a man shows their emotion, oh man,
oh my God.
Maggie, may I? Maggie, may I? Fellas,
go ahead.
Okay.
Come on, Debo.
You look all right.
Go right ahead, bro.
All right. Three, 2. All right. Parental discretion advised. You look like a bitch. So
yeah.
That's why a lot of men internalize their emotions. because we're the alphas. We're the ones who should, who you know what I'm saying, who should get things done.
Yeah.
You understand? So like whenever like a man shows an emotion, it's like, oh, he complain, he act like I'm from the hood, and the first thing he acted like a bitch instead of actually just acting out and showing human emotion. So from my and look, I used to do that. I used to just hide my emotions. But what I had to do was I had to stop evading my emotions and start being more expressive. You had to do that. You gotta show the world who you are. You know what I'm talking about? And once I did that, I started to feel that I was giving the world my everything and all. Because when you express yourself and show the world like, hey, you know, I'm a human being too. I'm a man. You know what I'm talking about? I am an alpha. But at the same time, I'm a human being as well. Unfortunately, in society, sometimes, man, if you say I mean, and panel and Maggie and everybody look at this right here. You can see it. You can say the slightest thing. Once you say it, you're judged. You're prejudged by your vocal and by what you say. You know what I'm saying, and your behaviors. So, you know, that's why I think that's totally true. Like that's right here. Why men are often taught to be to stay silent. You want to stay silent. And again, I'm thinking from perspective of being where I'm from. If you run your mouth, I put parental discretion advised. If you run your mouth, you're a bitch.
Yeah. So
you gotta keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm talking about. But my question to you, Maggie, from you know, and the reason, and of course the panel, but I'm gonna start with you because I want to get a woman's perspective. Can you see why a man might be apprehensive as far as showing their emotions and being silent?
Yeah, I can, because of course I have my own son. You know, of course I was raised by a man, you know, that was strong and, you know, don't show any emotions. And I've seen a grown man, my stepdad, cry when it was a need to cry. Because, you know, he's recently retired and everything. And it was just, you know, some things that hit him hard, and it's something that he just couldn't hold back. And it was kind of one of those shocking factors, like, we don't see this often. I remember when it was a time when he was kind of drinking very heavy. He had went back home. I don't know if anybody familiar with Louisville, Georgia. It's like a small little country town near Augusta. A lot of his family members kind of, you know, are stuck in just their ways of not wanting to be better. So a lot of them drink, a lot of them just didn't do anything with their lives, and they're just kind of in a bad place. He left Louisville to move to Atlanta to make his life better because he's mixed, white and black, and he was bullied. And so he had always had to be tough and prove himself because he had like curly hair, and it was just like, oh, you think you're better than somebody because he was light skinned. So he just already had to have that tough persona anyway. So he just developed this mean streak, you know, and I was like, that's the meanest man I ever known. I'm scared of him. But when he started showing some genuine emotion, it was like, he's human. He's human. And I think it took so much build up from him holding all that in that he couldn't help it at the time, but he was with family, and I guess he felt comfortable and vulnerable. I feel a lot of men are afraid to show vulnerability because, like you said earlier, it makes them look soft. When you have emotions and feelings, you shouldn't feel like that. Boys, suck it up. And it's terrible because if you sit down and have a conversation with the young man, like I do with coaching and everything else, and kind of get into their head, like, what are you thinking? How are you feeling today? They're an open book.
Right.
I learned so much from people from just expressing themselves, and I'd rather you have it out than in, because when it builds up, That's when that anger, that's when that anxiety, that's when some people black out or they tend to get to drugs and alcohol and other methods, sex, whatever the case may be to help them cope. But it's only just a Band-Aid to fix that issue. Right. And of course, especially not in the African American community, mental health period is taboo anyway. We don't get help. We go, no offense to anybody, disclaimer, but let's pray it out. Pray to God about it, and that's going to fix it. But then you're still dealing with the issue undiagnosed, etc. So that's kind of how I feel. I feel like it's because it's frowned upon for a man to have emotions. Right. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
No, that makes perfect sense. And like I touched on, and you know what I'm saying, say eloquently. When a man has emotions, he looks soft.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you know what I'm saying, like it's very, very difficult for a man to express himself in a way that he wants to show the world, like, hey, I'm a human being. Because if he does that, then he's not everywhere, but he could be frowned upon as being like, oh, he's soft, he's you know what I'm saying, gentle. You know what I'm saying? He's telling everybody his emotions and everything, and that could be that could be a difficult thing to handle. And actually that could be dangerous and deadly by your emotion, holding your emotion, because men go through so much stuff, particularly black men.
Right.
My uncle told me one thing, and I kind of disagree with it, but at the same but when he told me that's the way it was, he told me this back in the 1980s and 1990s. When you're born black and you're born a male, you're born 2 strikes.
Already.
So
right. He's sadly he's right.
Right. So no, I totally so that you know what I'm saying, that's why I think that men, fellas, we internalize what we're going through, because if you say something, you're like, oh, he's talking too much. You know what I'm saying? I illustrated a little bit ago. So, but that's why I think it is right there.
Yeah.
Okay. And Pandemic, you want to chime in on the same topic? Just why do men, are taught to stay silent about their emotions?
Yeah, like Debo said, like y'all was, hinting on, is for a long time, there was a gold standard about, masculinity, right? Not showing the soft side. And it was built all on silence, back, now that I look back on, my grandfather, my great grandfather, my uncles, there was no crashing out, there was no sharing of feelings, but the idea that a man's strength was measured by how much pressure he could withstand without making a sound. And that's where that silence come from. But here now in the modern world, we're discovering that silence is becoming an epidemic. It's a shield. We're looking at it as a shield to hide our true feelings, our shall I say, soft side, as Debo calls it, but it's a poison, to be honest with you. And what this poison does is migrate through the body, right? And it affects your mind. It affects the way you act, the way you talk, the way you interact with other people, your family, that type of thing. So, when we were young, we weren't taught how to talk about pain. We were taught how to keep living. My mother, who raised us, 5 boys, 1 girl, and she did it all by herself, with the help of a family. But our mother grew up rough. I mean, she was strong, she was strict, relied on faith and discipline, and held the family together. And we, as men, that's what we saw, so, and she didn't exhume her weakness. She stayed prayed up, so to speak, but she didn't display a sign of weakness, but that toughness was both a foundation and also put up a wall that kept a child such as myself, who was actively watching, to show vulnerability. It was not there. In our house, we didn't sit down and ask, why it hurts so much when something hurts us, or even touch along in our feelings. We just didn't do it. Life went on, but we as kids learned to adapt in that silence. There were always questions there, but we adapted to that silence, and we learned how to express and we never learned how to express feelings. So, like like Devo said, the more we watched our uncles, the more we watched our great grandfathers, our grandfathers. My father wasn't there, but the more we watched them operate, the more we thought that that was the way to go, you know, and that's what we put ourselves at, not showcasing any feelings. And the thing is, a lot of people think that men don't feel. I could tell you right now that's beyond the realm of thinking that is nowhere near true, right? But we just don't act on it, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And that's to break that cycle, you know, break that stigma, break that, you know, that realm of staying silent, because you know we all have to talk, whether we talk to each other, our wives, you know, our kids or whatever. We have to break that stigma that we have to keep that silent, because that silence evidently becomes what's going on today. It leads to even more violence. It leads to personal trauma. It leads to all kind of things that we need to stay away from. So, but we're going to talk about that further going down into discussion too.
And I agree, Pandemic. I'm just going to mention something here because, of course, I do have someone that's currently locked up. And, of course, me doing the outside work for that family member, you know, talking to like the DA and things like that. One sympathy they have is like a lot of times they're so quick to arrest people, throw them in the jail, lock them up, but they're not paying attention to their mental health. There was a reason that led up to it. So let's focus on the source of things. Of course, you commit the crime, you got to pay for it. But while we're in there, let's focus on keeping them out, you know, instead of just put them in the system. And then it's just like these young guys, these young kids that just kind of out here willy nilly. Like if y'all haven't been watching the news in Georgia, these kids are doing takeovers. I think one was at the Battery, I believe.
The Battery in Cobb County, ridiculous, unbelievable.
And they was also, I think they was going to take over Stonecrest Mall, and you know, of course, Lenox Mall. Now they have to have metal detectors because even Six Flags now you have to have an adult accompany these kids because they're fighting at Six Flags. They don't have a lot of good upbringings and strong, you know, backhand that used to like make people fearful of messing up. Now it's like, I don't respect the teachers. I don't respect authorities. I don't care about my parents. I'm gonna do whatever I want to. So 330, how do you feel about that topic? Why men are often taught to stay silent about their emotions?
Well, piggybacking off of the two that came before me, it's kind of, it's right there, you know, it's not complicated. Our fathers and grandfathers, they're being black, especially down south. I'm in North Carolina now, but I'm a Georgia boy, and it's they want us to be tough because they know what we were going to face. I remember I was 8 years old. My mom's a school teacher. She's a retired school teacher. And we had to walk to school. But that particular day it was raining and we was in the car and we was just riding. And I'm just looking out the window and my mom said, "Junior, why don't you smile?" I said, "What is this smile about?" I was 8 years old. And I always remember that because I'm like, wow, I was 8 years old and I was that bitter already. You know, now that I'm, you know, a man, I'm that bit, not bitter, but just it's already in me. Just to be tough, don't smile, don't laugh, don't really laugh and joke. None of that when I was a young kid. And then I think Pandemic can identify with this. I don't know about the other two guys or people in the chat. And then we went in the military.
Oh yeah.
Now you already had a mild dose of being silent, not well, they call it complaining, not complaining and about things, just toughing it out. And then you go to boot camp in the military. I was in the Marines, and he's a Navy guy, so we still brothers. And you go in there and get broke all the way down.
Absolutely.
You complain about nothing, and now you get another dose of you're taught to endure physical pain as well as the mental pain.
Yeah.
So now we're way back, and don't even talk about going into combat.
Right.
That's a whole nother animal too. So then you come back out. I'm gonna say it as a broken man for society. Now, if you stay in the military, oh, you good to go. But if you come back out here in the civilian world, you're a broken man, and you're one traumatic situation away from being struck out on drugs, going to prison, being homeless, whatever.
Yeah.
And for I don't know about other people that's been in the military. When you get out, they don't talk to you about therapy. They don't talk to you about, hey man, when you go back to your hometown, hey man, if you need anything, go down to the VA and talk to your people at the VA. They don't tell you none of that. So you get out here, and then now and I'm not gonna get too far. I know it's gonna come up later. You have to do some other things to try to make it. So
yeah.
Again, and one other thing about being silent. I remember the stigma was so much about it. I remember I'm probably the oldest one up here on the panel. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, on up to the 80s, you dare not wear a pink shirt. You dare not. You dare not wear nothing pink. It's just, you know,
right.
Like Debo was saying about you, I don't curse, but you're a liar. You don't pink?
Yeah.
Back then? Oh, nah. You got to throw hands, for wearing that.
No breast cancer awareness in those days.
Right.
Yeah.
You better not wear you put on something pink. You got to throw hands. So you stayed in that spot. You stayed stuck, and you sucked all this stuff in. And then as a man, you get out here. Now you got to fend for yourself.
Right.
You really got to fend for yourself. And then you start getting into your relationships, and you're getting employed, or, whatever you chose to do. And then now you got all of this stuff is going to eventually come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to cut it off right there for now, because I know we're going to get into some more things on this.
Oh yeah, we're going to definitely dive into this. This is kind of like just overall topic first, and then we'll get into why and what the effects of it, what happens. But I want to get into this comment. And I saw a lot of your comments in the chat, and it's amazing comments, but I think this one is great. It said, I think a few key points that every man needs to have is perseverance, courage, empathy, and to never give up. And 3:30, I wanted to kind of back on what you said, and we're going to get to you, Will. So I do have military, not in my background, but my biological father was in the military. From what I know, of course, I never met him, unfortunately. I know of him. But of course, he went in as an alcoholic. And then, of course, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And of course, he was honorably discharged from the military, but of course, it led to drugs and alcohol. Right now, we don't even know where he's at. We don't know if he's alive. We don't know. But he used to, take it out on my mom. I have have brothers and siblings that he was also kind of abusive to. From what I know, he's kind of a rogue person that like to road trip and, hitchhike. And he's probably out there homeless is how we're feeling, because we was trying to find him. Maybe he was in prison. Maybe he was, because the last time years ago, he was in rehab. That's when he tried to develop a relationship with us, but he ran when it was time to meet us. So with me being that I found out long ago that, when I was 19 years old, I was pregnant with my first child. My auntie, who I didn't know was my auntie, was like, you need to know your family history. My mother kind of lied to us about the stepfather that was raising us since we was young. She was like, well, that's not your biological father. You need to know your history because of, family things like mental health reasons. And hence, I do have a mental illness myself, mood depression disorder, and anxiety. My own daughter has a psychosis, and I needed to know these things because one of my aunties had schizophrenia. So I needed to know this family history. So I can say this. I felt that he was lost. He probably had a tough persona because that's what he was taught to do. And he hid everything. And of course, he coped with alcohol and drugs. And right now, his mind is probably somewhere going and he's probably lost himself. And so it's like that's why I take mental health advocacy seriously. I don't feel like it's a joke, and I think everybody needs to be serious about it because you don't want to be somewhere where you lose your mind and you can't come back. There was a point where my own daughter almost lost her mindset. She went into let's call it a catatonic psychosis state where you're kind of like a vegetable, where you have to have people to help you do hygiene, go to the bathroom, bathe. And of course, she doesn't remember none of that, but it was a lot of back and forth into the hospital. And then it was like, it makes sense. It runs in my family. So I needed to know my history. But Will, we're going to go back into this topic, then we'll move into the next one. Why men are often taught to stay silent about emotions, because that's why we have a lot of homeless people out there now, because they're not getting the proper mental help. They just go to jail just to have a cot to lay on and something to eat 3 days a week. Then it's like, okay, your time is gone, get on the street. Yeah. And the homeless shelters are starting to close up in Georgia. And it's like, they don't have anywhere to go, or they don't want the help. They're fine to be on the street. So go ahead, Mr. Will. You can go ahead and let me know how you're feeling about this topic.
I feel like it's almost a blessing that I was able to join the show tonight, because in so much as I'm half a world away, I do share a lot of solidarity with you guys. If you don't understand what growing up in Glasgow is like, it's very much like growing up in Atlanta, minus the guns. So you still have on the routine, you had razor gangs back in the 70s. And when I say razor gangs, that's exactly what you think it is. Knife attacks, firework attacks. I could go on, but it gets pretty graphic. Glasgow was not a city you wanted to be in. Now that's evolved a little bit over the last sort of 3-4 decades, but still not a city you want to, like, as I say, like, it goes for a lot of the world, but it's not a city you want to come to and mess around, so to speak. So yes, you had that whole mentality of you come home crying about it and you don't sort out your situation. I'm going to sort you out again until you learn that you need to stand your ground. Obviously, doing martial arts allowed me to kind of instill in myself some zen and also some context. So I'm not afraid to walk down the street anymore. But at the same time, I was raised predominantly by women. My mum and dad didn't get together until I was 10. Well, I call him my dad, but he's technically my stepdad, so same situation as you and Maggie. And also, I didn't aspire to be like the men in my family, because the men in my family are, to put not too fine a point on it, knuckle draggers, alcoholics, hard men, that whole thing. And that was never what I wanted to be. I wanted to be someone who could handle themselves, but at the same time, because I was raised to respect women, to take what women had to say as gospel or as sound advice, I always had that softness. So I was never, when I grew up, I was never one to shy into places where I was dishonest or quiet. I mean, if I get quiet, usually something's up with me, generally speaking. But that's why I feel like content creation as well has been a blessing and a curse, to be 100% honest, because when you get into this game, one thing you do need to be is consistent. But I'm on the autistic spectrum too. It's a long road, so I still don't know whether it's autism, whether it's ADHD, somewhere in between. But it manifests in a lot of self-doubt, borderline self-hatred, which I cover in self-deprecative humor, which will have experienced or will if you get to know me. I feel like I use humor a lot as self-defense. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm coming from it. So I can see the whole aspect of you've got to be the alpha, so to speak, but I still feel like it's okay to break, and that's why I'm so appreciative of my fiance, because she's that kind of coping mechanism that go to kind of bounce ideas off or struggles off of. But no, it's a long road, and I don't want to be medicated. I probably should be, but mental health's disrespected in Britain in a lot of ways, especially when you're a woman. There is 9 times out of 10 as a woman, if you're on the spectrum, you're going to be misdiagnosed. There are cases where women have been told, oh, it's just symptoms to do with perimenopause. 2 years later, they're then diagnosed with MS. It's been as severe as that. So a bit of anxiety and depression is really nothing. And their first port of call is, oh, well, we need to give you X or Y so you can sleep. I don't want to fucking sleep. I've got shit I need to do. All I want to do is to try and figure out what's going on up here. And I feel like, like from the medical profession on down, I feel like there needs to be more due diligence done. But as someone who is neurodivergent, it's important to have these conversations. And as I said to you guys in the back before we started, these shows mean so much to me. The level of perfectionism that I have is a blessing and a curse, as I say, because I hold myself to a level which is sometimes not attainable, because I drive myself into the ground, get burnt out, have to take time off, and then come back feeling like shit, pardon my French, because I've let the team down, or I feel like I've let the team down. And then that starts that whole vicious cycle. So getting around that is tough, but it's a day by day thing. And just having people around me that I trust and I can open up to about it, I feel like that's what every man needs, is to have a support structure that's not going to judge and that knows how it is. And as I say, growing up in Scotland, I feel like that's why there's so much solidarity between myself and you guys over there in the States, is because in so much as like completely different upbringings, it was a very similar situation, as I say. So that's kind of where I'm at with it all.
Okay, well, thank you, Will. Appreciate that. I love that. Of course, getting a perspective from, of course, across the seas is, it's mental health affects everybody all over. It's all the same. And of course, sometimes I'm hearing there, I guess it's not a lot of resources and focus on the mental health where you are. So you kind of deal with it. And of course, alcohol is heavy where you are, that's like a pastime.
Yes, well, to kind of put that in perspective, for the guys that don't know, I think I've told you this before, Maggie. Scotland is the only country on earth that has alcohol licensing laws. If you're in an unlicensed premises, if you're not in a bar and you go into a store to buy it, you have from 10 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. You can't go into a store and purchase alcohol after that time, because alcoholism and drug problems in Scotland are as rife as flus, which is embarrassing to say, because I am proud of being Scottish. But if Scotland has a shame, that would be it. It's the first thing. Like, as I say, you guys are Americans, so when someone paints a stereotype of a Scotsman, chances are they're going to be drunk.
Right. Thank you for that, Will. And we're gonna move into our next topic because, and I'm glad everybody's, we're picking up some more audiences. In case people are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button on any channel, Kandid Room or Atlanta Falcons Nation. And we're gonna, introduce everybody else at the end so you can follow them as well. But I just appreciate everybody here because we're talking about males dealing with mental health, and because it's rarely talked about. And I love when I do see panels of gentlemen that do get together and discuss these things where they can have an open discussion where there's no judgment. And this place here is a no judgment zone. As I am a mental health coach, I feel that everybody should be able to feel safe and comfortable to express themselves. So I appreciate everybody that's been in the chat and having a conversation with us. But I want to get into, I see a comment real quick. Let's see. Wow, interesting to hear another culture's perspective. And that's what I love. That is absolutely what I love. And yes, my baby, she's doing a lot better. She has challenges. She does see a therapist around the clock. She has a psychiatrist. She does have like a team. Shout out to Grady. They come and check on her very often, but she's in her own department. She was in school, but she's having some struggles with that with Georgia State, but we try to get her back in school. But I told her, I was like, don't let your diagnosis define you. You just,
absolutely, yes.
If you struggle, just go at the pace that you can handle. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Cause her biggest thing is my middle child, she's getting ready to, she's graduated early and she's going to start college on campus in fall. And she was like, oh, she's just so smart. She's doing all this. It's like, everybody learns differently, just as long as you're wanting to do something, I'm proud of that, so we gotta show love into our kids and don't be trying to kick them out, and all that, even though she wanted to do her own thing. I let her do her own thing, but I was like, you don't got to go anywhere, but they smell themselves. So I'm like, okay, we're going to explain. Thank you for checking in. So the personal cause of not speaking about, your relationship, stress, isolation, anger. And of course, as I do always, I have a little chart to put up here. We can talk about, let me get to the next slide here. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. But I thank everybody. I see about 49 people in here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share this out.
Thumbs it up.
Thumbs it up. Definitely hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, oh Lord, I'm cut my computer off. Why did I do that? So here we go. So this is the next thing here. Here we go. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to look up all close to it because it's just how it is. I'm blind. So this is the personal cause of not speaking, about your mental health, your relationships. You start to have an emotional distance, breakdowns and detachment, mistrust or resentment. Then you got your stress, because, you're that breadwinner. You got to get up and go to work and provide, especially dating now. These women want you to have everything while they sit down and look cute with their little city girls wigs. And it's like,
say that, yeah, man, say that again.
So the stress of having to go be that provider, anxiety and overwhelmness, sleep problems, burnout and exhaustion. Because they get home, they still got to let me fix the cabinet, go cut the grass. I've been home all day raising the kid. You need to be doing this, and then let him ask for a sandwich to eat. Oh, you're getting cussed out.
Oh my goodness.
Isolation, loneliness and numbness. No one understands. Loss of support. And last but not least, anger, irritability and outbursts, addiction or self-harm, and negative coping. When you stay silent, you pay it for it somewhere else. Is the point there. We're going to start back from the top there. Demo vibes.
Yes,
and we're going to keep this up here so people can read it. Do you agree with this here?
Yeah, no, man, all those nuances right there are totally on point right there. Out of the four, I would definitely say stress would be the main one right there, because again, it says not speaking about your mental health. you had to release. You gotta
Mhm.
release. You got to talk to somebody. It can be a friend, it can be your cousin, it can be your brother, it can be somebody.
Yeah.
And shoot, it could be a stranger. You know what I'm saying? There's an old adage out there that says sometimes a stranger could be your best friend. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta do what you gotta do to release. You know what I'm saying? So whenever someone holds anything in, it's not a safe thing. So when it says the personal cost of not speaking about mental health, it can cost, like I touched on with the last topic, it can cost you your life
Mhm.
because stress is something else. And as we all know, stress can lead to physical attributes, physical things that happen to you. You
Mhm.
know, so I would definitely say relationships. I get it. Isolation, anger, but
Mhm.
the stress aspect, because we're not all in relationships. I'm not in a relationship right now. I'm single. You know what I'm talking about? So the first, yeah, you know what I mean? I've been divorced twice, two happy divorces, but anyway, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So,
two happy
but
divorces. Okay.
two happy
So you
divorces,
As
speak.
long as they're happy, man.
the best days of my life. Hey, two of the best days of my life. When I got divorced, but then my son got born, so he's number one. My divorces are
Okay.
number two and three. Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So stress is the main thing right there. Because when you're
Yeah.
stressed out, sometimes you think you have no hope.
Mhm.
You think the whole world's against you. And all you have to do is just simply release
Yeah.
and let people know what's going on with you. You're not Superman, you're not Superwoman. You know, you're a human being.
Right.
So, you know, if you sit there and just hold everything in, it opens
Mhm.
Pandora's box for you for things to be way more worse than it should be.
Yeah.
So, you know, but to answer your question, Maggie, out of
Mhm.
these four aspects right here, um, the stress part, that's the main part I'm looking at. Anxiety, being overwhelmed, sleep problems. When you stressed out, you can't sleep for shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
Burnout and exhaustion. That's a physical detriment right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but all four detriments, all four categories right there would lead to you, you know, just not being able to live your life. And so these are perfect. Not all four applies to everybody, but at least one of the four does apply to somebody, and that's why it's so important. You need to speak to somebody. And
Mhm.
on top of that, I don't want to. How should I say
Go
this?
ahead. Go ahead.
Your mental health would cause you to do things out of your character
Mhm.
and harm others. Your mental health will cause you, if you don't release it and talk to somebody, all that internalized stress, anger, isolation, relationship problems, it will could lead you to go in public or do something that will harm others. You gotta get treatment. So, but that's my take on that right there. But particularly with stress one, you gotta talk to somebody because if you internalize your problems that's going on, eventually it's gonna lead to a situation that it should never led to.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I love that. And I want to get to Southside Ricky's Four's comment there. It said, that's my problem. I got to learn to get things off my chest and let it go when something pushes me over the edge. And then, of course, ATL Leo was also saying that he has trouble, you know, hold on, let me see. I used to never talk about my issues and still kind of don't. So, that's something that he's still battling
Mhm.
here. And it says, that's probably why I spend my nights. It says, walking around my neighborhood trying to smoke my problems away.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and it's hard. Yeah, you look for that coping mechanism. And we got Big Low Country. What in the world, Bo?
What
Shout out
in
What in
to
the
the
all
world,
my
Well,
Bo?
world,
Bo.
Bo?
What world,
Good to
Bo?
see you.
L.
Good to see
Big
you.
low.
Big Low,
Oh,
Big
big
Low.
low.
Well, you
So,
know what? I feel like I don't want to come
mhm,
across as arrogant, but I feel like I can speak for all you guys on the panel. To
mhm,
everyone in the chat, if you are struggling, send
mhm,
one of us a PM on Facebook, X, Insta, whatever you've got, because I would rather have the message than the post that you've done something silly, that you couldn't take what's
Right.
going on in your life. I would rather you spoke to one of us. For all that it might be worth, it might just be to sound off and just to have us go, look, it's okay. But sometimes that's all you need. So don't be afraid to reach out. And I feel like that's why, as well, I'm especially grateful to you guys for having me on tonight, because this isn't just about the guys on the panel. This is about the fans that keep coming back for more. So as such, if there's something we can do, then let y'all people know.
Yeah,
that's very true. I mean, and closing from my part, I said a little bit ago during when we was talking about sometimes a stranger can be your best friend. Now, I've had my best conversations or my best releases just by talking to somebody I had no clue the hell this person was. So I released and they listened. You know what I'm talking about? So, but yeah, I definitely concur with that, Will.
Yeah.
Okay, Will. And so Will, and then we're gonna get to pandemic, but Will, you want to just chime in about that piece that I was showing up there about just, of course, you speak out and reach out to people, but do you feel that you agree with the personal cost of keeping things to yourself as well?
Yes, ma'am. I do. I feel like isolation is the one that I identify with most, and that comes off the back of stress.
Okay.
Personally, you guys will have been able to see it in action. I was tired. I was in a lot of ways psychologically just exhausted after the season. So I decided to take a few weeks off, and again, that started a vicious cycle of depression, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, because I have that little voice quite commonly that asks or out and out tells me, that little devil on the shoulder, you're not good enough. These are a bunch of Americans talking about an American sport, and you have no place here. You like, I don't want to go completely southern on it, but you just a bad boy, so to speak. So, but no, like this white boy's got something to say, and I felt like I was broken physically and emotionally when the seizures and the tracheotomy and all that stuff came, and I had to give up playing football. I thought that was it, but something that I'm really subscribing to in life, and this, if you want to take this and run with it, then by all means it's yours, is life's full of side quests. Just because you don't reach the main goal, not that I was ever going to get to the NFL, but that was the goal when I was much younger. Just because you're not in the game doesn't mean that you can't stay in the game, and that's why, again, I'm thankful to these guys who have put up with me for so long at this point. So I must be doing something right or wrong. I don't know. It depends how you look at it.
Right.
Love it. And pandemic, same question. And what's going on, Jerome? What's good, Max? How you doing? Same question to you. We're just talking about, it's hard out here. So when you hide and you hold it back, the effects that it has on you. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's funny that I am gonna say it's funny, but because this here is not a laughing matter, but that Southside Ricky hinted at what he do to try to relieve that stress, right? So you look at the personal cost of not speaking up, right? And that could easily transform into your personal cost actually affecting others, right? So when you harbor your emotions and treat them like they're trade secrets, right? That pressure that from those trade secrets don't just vanish, right? It mutates over time. And if I can have you put that image back up with the
sure can.
But like I said, when that pressure, it don't just leave because you want it to leave. It mutates over time. So if you stressing about something, right? If you're stressing about something, you're liable to let that mutate over into, let's just say, you stressing over your relationship, right? And that leads to the point where it could easily be led to isolation, right? In one next turn, you start getting angry about that isolation. Then your isolation becomes stress, and it leads back to your relationship. So one terms actually affects another. So choosing to be silent, over expressing yourself, it might not feel like it might feel like a protective shield at that moment because you're being quiet, but over turn it turns into a heavy tax, right? Especially on the quality of life. You already got to deal with raising your family. You already got to provide for your family, be that protector for your family. So, and at the same time, you got to keep your manhood intact. As Devo said, you don't want to keep showing your soft side. So all that is really taxing. So the most tragic intersection about this is if your masculinity and your mental health can't be balanced out, it leads to detrimental things. And this was led me to talk about what happened to Rondell Moore, the NFL football player. That's why I did my piece, that piece on him, because harboring all of those emotions lead to suicide or stuff like suicide, something close to it. While and that's not saying women are not susceptible to it, because statistic has shown that women are more diagnosed with depression and attempted suicide, but men are significantly more likely to die by that suicide. Well, because we harbor so much more, because we choosing not to talk about it. Women are more apt to talk about it. Men are not so much, right? And we'll get into how we can find ways to to talk about it. So, but that refusal to be vulnerable often means that men don't have that safety valve, and to release that pressure that we just talked about. So that burden becomes unbearable to the point where we try to find an outlet. And sometimes a lot of people, if they don't have that balance, that outlet leads to what we just talked about, suicide. And that'll not just become a personal drama. It affects your family too, because you are that provider, you are that protector of your family. So it don't just affect you, it goes down the line.
Okay. And I love that, pandemic. And I want to get into Karina's comments, and then we're going to get to 3:30. Being raised by a single parent man who served in the military, I wonder how he kept it all together, raising 2 girls and a boy. He always talked about patience and maintaining mental health. And I'm glad you had that influence in your life where he made that something that part of your conversation and priority. And Big Low Country said, it's always good to reach out if you have any problems. Anybody in here can hit me up if you need someone to speak to. And, and I've sat down and talked to Big Low. Of course, we're family. And, I don't went through some stuff, mental health stuff, and being mad at folks and all that. And it was all because I was harboring a lot of things internally, dealing with a lot of stuff, and a lot of people that weren't good in my life that I had to let go. And sometimes you do have to, of course, people can tell you all day long, hey, this is not a good idea. And a lot of times you have to see it for yourself, because it's like you have a lot of love for people, but we can be enablers at times. And, sometimes you got to let those negative people out your life to improve. And some people don't even want to see you improve yourself. They want to see you down in the dumps and always, in a bad mood, because they're in a bad mood. And Keisha Posey, 1413, she said, did y'all hear about Coach Prime lost one of his players in a car crash? I did hear that.
Yeah, Dominique, it was the second QB, I think. He was 23. So prayers up to his family. That's shocking.
His quarterback?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the reason why this episode was brought on, because, of course, a lot of things that is happening in NFL, including Mr. Pierce. He's crashing out over a lady friend, and you're getting ready to ruin your career over a lady when you got the world in your hands.
Maggie,
right
now. that don't matter. It's all about emotions.
It's about emotions.
Your career.
It had nothing to do
I'm
with
gonna
the
tell you
lady.
something. Say what?
Come on, Devo.
Come
on, go ahead.
No. I mean, me personally, I didn't crash out, but like when your emotions are so fueled up, high octane, you're not thinking rationally. That day, that whole shit went down with James Pierce Jr. He didn't give a fuck about nothing.
No money, no career,
none of that. All he knows is he had to handle his business. It's emotional. It's his emotions. It's head, which goes to mental health.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. There was a defensive end for the Bears back in the 90s, man. Alonzo Spellman of Ohio State had the best talent in the world. Could have been the best defensive ends ever. he was struggling with mental health, and not only would he act out in public, he would act out on the field, just snapping, or as a young kid say, crashing out on the field. You know what I mean? So when everything went down with that James Pierce Jr. thing, it just goes to show your mental health will come out in public, and you won't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Debo, tell him.
And how do we know he didn't internalize that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as Falcons fan, I'm talking. Or I know I'm switching the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons. As Falcons,
this is Atlanta Falcons present, so we're definitely talking about connecting it back to the Falcons and football.
We can't sit here and be like, oh, James Bridges, he crashed out. There's something went on in his head that triggered him.
Yeah,
by her.
Yeah, but you also looking at a young man too that's very young in age, who was probably never taught about harnessing his emotions, or even taught about how to express his emotions. Because now that everything is this has happened, now you got people all the way back from high school that are saying that this has always been his character. So harnessing his emotions is just one thing. His mental state is another thing. And like Southside Ricky said, he was literally in love with this girl, and he probably was. But the fact that he could not handle the part that she wanted to expunge the relationship led to him losing control of his emotions and not being able to control his emotions. So there's a lot that led up to it that didn't happen, that should have happened, right? Let's just say of all the people that talked about his character, right? And nobody stepped in to say, hey man, look,
are you okay?
I'm here to talk
Are you okay? How can we help you out?
Right. Exactly. So and that's where the ball was dropped back in the day, you know, when men would talk to be tough.
When they would have caught it before.
Handle their business, right? So and to Big Low Country, guys, when he says that you can call him and talk about whatever, he's a man of his word, you know, right? Because I've received phone calls from him, and it's like had nothing to do with a Falcon football, right? So it was just to check up on me, see how I'm doing. Now, at this point, like, I'm not experiencing no mental health issues, but at the same time, it's the fact that he lived up this word. He called, he checked, you know, and so when he says that, hey, take him forward his word. That's a true friend.
I love it. And 3:30.
All I know is, man, all I know is Big Little Country whooped my ass in fantasy football, so it's all to the G. I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna take your word for it.
He wasn't putting out no welcome mat, was he?
Yeah, no, he should be like Grace and Mercy in fantasy football. It's all to the G. It's all to the G.
Oh man,
you need a big old hug, Debo. You need a
when it comes to.
So 3:30. I wanted to get your opinions again, of course. Then we're going to go to the next topic. You know, just basically the cost of not speaking about your emotions and things like that. Did you need that chart back up, or you're okay?
Nah, I'm good. Okay. My heart rate's up a little bit. This right here getting kind of deep. It's getting close to me now. So, all right.
Yes. And we definitely understand, like, we got to pause and just take a breather. It's okay. Like, this was going to be a deep topic, and I felt it was going to be that. And I'm glad that you're being vulnerable and open to talk with us. So take your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not speaking, man. It like everybody's been saying, man, it's just a buildup. It builds up, and most of the time when it comes out, it's against something somewhere at some time that really had nothing to do with everything else. So now you got an innocent situation or an innocent person that's getting a raft of all of this built up anger, held in stress, and then you let it all out, and nobody understands what's going on. So, talking about Pierce, me and Debo kind of exploded at the same time on that. It was about this, and I'm glad they brought it up because I saw, Pandemic, he was kind of going off, right? Yeah. And because of because I've done therapy, a lot of therapy, and I saw he was triggered by that event.
Yes.
And he said, you know, it could have been my mom's, it could have been my daughter's, it could have been my goddaughter, it could have been this. And if you remember, Cowboy, every time you was talking, I was just typing. I'm typing because I'm like, this guy's been triggered.
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure that he was all right, but I didn't want to say, hey man, you've been triggered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk you off the ledge. I just stayed with him. I was like, nah, man, don't do that. Don't put your moms in there. Don't put your goddaughter in there. Hey man, just educate them on what they need to do so they won't be that victim, because he was kind of putting them in the place of the young lady that was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I stayed with him about 2 days on this internet till he came down.
You sure did. You sure did.
Yeah, I did. Now you go back and look. Hey, documented evidence. I just typed this dude a whole book.
Yep. That was a 4-hour podcast, and he stayed with me the whole time from beginning to end. Because I had no idea to be in that podcast no 4 hours. I said I was gonna do an hour, say my piece and move on. But that podcast ended up being a 4-hour podcast, and I was posting about it online, and every time I posted about it, 3:30, sure enough, came in and said, "Hey man, look, I know this hit you, but don't get too deep up into it. It's his life. He got to deal with it. He was chiming in, so I appreciate that. Yeah.
So this right here, So this right here is just, this just shows you how, like everybody been saying, you got to have somebody to talk to, and like Debo said, sometimes a stranger is your best friend, and we've never met, but we have talked on, over this internet, and I saw it. I saw the trigger because I was like, dog, I ain't never seen my man like this before. Let me start typing. And with that too, I even said on the podcast, I said I wish I could, because when they said the $20,000 bond, I was like, I can go get him. But they probably thought I was trying to brag about the money, but I was like, I know where he at. Right. Because if you look at the picture, when the cops stood him up, it looked like something left his body. You could see it on his face.
Yeah.
It was like something left his body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everybody said, "Oh, he crashed out. He crashed out." Okay. Do you know that term crashed out when I was a kid? Like I said, I'm probably the oldest one up here. Crashed out back in the day meant go to sleep.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
So now they're using it in a term of you just, I guess acting out without thinking or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I was coming up, man, just said, man, I'm going home to crash.
Yeah.
So now it makes sense. Now I don't went the opposite. So that's how things are, man. Things have changed, but mental health has not changed. It's the same.
No, that's true, and that's why if I can pass another piece of education on to the young men in the chat. I was younger than James Pierce is now when this situation happened. Now it'll show you that it doesn't matter how many millions you've got in the bank or if you've got nothing in the bank. This could still occur.
You ain't thinking about that.
Right.
As you know, neurodivergent. I have my struggles. I don't see much in myself. So if I find someone who does, then I'm surprised, but I do my best, as you do, to obviously make that relationship work. Mm-hmm. The worst thing that happened is I was and still am a musician. I was playing around Glasgow at the time. Not to brag, but just to set my point, I've performed at the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall twice, and I've got various different accolades and so on and so forth. But she decided to post on a blog that she had that she thought I wouldn't see a word that I will not use right now, but it's 5 letters long and starts with R, and we'll leave it at that, because I placed my hands on her shoulders in an argument. Now, knowing me as well as you guys do, that is not, that's shouting me. You know what I'm saying? I fear God.
Yeah.
I fear God too much to ever do that. I understand that things did get out of hand, but at the same time, you need to be able to control yourself, because, as I say, my relationship with God's evolved and really came into its own now in my 30s, and having seen what I've seen happen in the world the last few years, as we all have, it will make you turn back to religion. To not put too fine a point on it, but yeah, just be careful out there, boys, and be careful out there, girls too, because it's scary, and you don't know who you're with sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Okay. I'm glad you shared that story. Everybody is, been through something. And I'm glad you're here to talk about it. And you do got to watch yourself sometimes.
Hey, Maggie, can I say something before we move on?
Sure.
I'm sending this out to everybody because I think I had got into this situation like that. When you're holding all of these things in, when you got your stress, and then you're hiding it, then you get by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You isolate yourself from everything, and you're angry, you're bitter because you can't figure, as a man, you can't figure it out.
Right.
What happens is you lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You lose yourself. You have no idea right then who you are. You can't identify, and everything becomes a blur.
Mm-hmm.
At times. Everything becomes a blur. If you got a job, if you can maintain that, you'll go to work, you'll come home. If you're by yourself, that's when it's really rough. You go to work, you come home.
Yeah.
You stay in the house, you go back to work, you come home. And after a while, it's 6 months, it's a year, and then when you come out of it, you're all the way lost.
Yeah.
You're lost. And I'm just saying that to say this: people just reach out to somebody that's going to listen. Don't, not necessarily your best friend, not necessarily your parents. It has to be someone that's going to genuinely listen, and they're going to give you sound advice and be willing to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Not just send you out with the advice, but they're going to have to be able to check on you and work with you for the progress.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Right.
And I want to get into this comment with Keisha again. My son was going through a lot, and he turned his anger and stress into weightlifting. And now my only son will be leaving April 20th for the Army. Okay. So he took that and, turned it around into something positive. So he's doing something great. And then Southside Ricky here, he said, honestly, if y'all ever notice, sometimes I go through long stretches of not watching any Falcons podcast because I be dealing with my own life problems. And that's understandable. Sometimes we got to take a mental health break, step away from social media, step away from all of that. Because, of course, Falcons can get your blood pressure raised up.
Man.
Hell yeah.
And it ain't even just that. I mean, not to get too political, but you go on social media and all you get these days is bombs and booty. So
right. Nothing positive. People thrive on negative energy on social media. But I definitely want to get into our next topic. And I hope you guys got a little bit more time with us tonight. Because like I said, I still want to get deep dived into this. And now let's talk about, of course, we hit on it just a little bit, but this is the main one right here. Masculinity versus vulnerability. Can both exist? So I'm going to put up a chart here, of course, just to kind of map it out and see how can you be, as a man, can you be vulnerable? Can you be masculine and vulnerable at the same time?
Right.
Let's see. So here it is. Masculinity. Of course, you're taught to be strong, protect, take charge, and provide. And of course, versus vulnerability, feeling deeply, share honestly, deal with pain, and seek support. Healthy is having a balanced strength between your masculinity as well as taking accountability and taking in that you have feelings and seeing something about that. So having a self-awareness of what's going on with you internally, as well as your vulnerability, meaning you have to be comfortable to be open to communicate those feelings.
Oh yeah.
When you feel like, just me being to myself, like you said, go to work, come home. an empty home, no girlfriend, what have you. So you don't have like a support system where you can call somebody. Because a lot of times, sometimes our family aren't our best advocate, especially, our Christian upbringing and things like that. It's like, oh no, mental health is not a real thing.
Pray, right?
You can pray that away, baby. So, but it says healthy masculinity isn't about hiding emotion. It's about having it and handling it at the same time. So, of course, we're going to start back up at the top with Debo Vibes. If you're still with us, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I guess here, just, masculinity versus vulnerability can both exist. Do you agree with that?
For sure. Absolutely. I do.
For sure.
I do. Yeah, masculinity and vulnerability can absolutely coexist. The reason I say that is because from the masculinity side, you know what I'm saying, guys, you know what I'm saying, we got that. But can you show your vulnerability? And the way you do that is like when you show your vulnerability, like I said, just my opinion, you're showing that you are human. You're a human being. You know what I'm saying? So you got peel the layers back a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? And I see pretty much the path of this conversation right here, where it's like a lot of guys feel like they have to, posture. We tend to hide our vulnerability by posturing. We're big and bad, you know what I'm saying, than what we really are. When on the inside we got some things going on. And it can distort reality, and it can stunt your mental growth. So yeah, no, they can definitely coexist. They can both exist. The only thing about it, and I like to ask the gentleman, well, they're gonna get their viewpoints of how it can be done without looking upon as far as like being. I'm not gonna say what I said earlier.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get into the safe part of things. We'll get into that.
We just say soft.
Yeah, I'll say soft. Yeah, I'm gonna say the other word. You know what I'm saying? Shit. There's a Kandid Room. We gotta say classy. You know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But no. To answer your question, no, they can totally coexist.
Yeah,
they can totally coexist. You gotta be real with yourself. But going back to Maggie, the initial conversation, once you show your vulnerability, is that going to be misconstrued as you being a bit soft? You know what I mean? So that's that, and that will lead to a lot of gentlemen, a lot of guys having issues with like, look, I got this. It's just hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Men are alphas. We are the alphas of the world. We are. Yeah. But it's hard at the same time. It's difficult at the same time going through situations where it's like, particularly black men, where it's like, like I said, we when you're born black and a male, you're born 2 strikes. So you gotta work a little harder to make sure that you show the world who you are. That can be difficult sometimes when the stereotypes come out, and so but for this particular topic right here, yes, I absolutely, Maggie in the panel, I totally think that they can coexist, and they can coexist in a beautiful level. You just gotta make sure you let the world know who you are. In my opinion.
Absolutely. And Fandemic, if you can go in on this topic as well, can they coexist?
I'm riding with Debo on this one. Absolutely. But showing your vulnerability does not mean you have to give up your masculinity either. So, but for men, it was one simple rule: you get knocked down, you pick yourself up. If you want to continue feeling like a man out there in other people's eyes, that's what they say. But don't look for someone to stop and ask if you're okay, right? I mean, it's good to ask questions or seek help, but don't look for somebody to stop and see if you're okay, especially if you're holding your emotions in. So we we keep believing that the only way to survive is to keep relying on ourselves, and that's the reason why we hold our emotions in. But that tension between masculinity and vulnerability is often that silent engine, right? There's that word again, silent, right? So, but it's often that silent engine behind many men's mental health and their struggles. But when a man starts feeling like he's less of manly, and then start questioning his internal state, his mental health is usually the first thing that gets challenged. It's the first thing that suffers. And this is the area where most men are living double lives, not in the sense of immorality or infidelity, but we hide our pain, plain and simple. You know, we hide our emotions, but we'll portray something entirely different on our face. And but you know, we continue smiling, yes, we continue laughing, and we continue to work, but we keep it from showing on our face and in our actions. If it starts showing on our face and in our actions, something is starting to look different. It's something starting to look seriously wrong, right? And that's when people start to notice it. But like I said, they say men don't feel anymore, but there's nothing that could be farther from the truth. But the short answer is yes, they can coexist. But doing so, especially during this day and time, is going to require a rebranding of your mental state, your existence, right? And but historically, masculinity and vulnerability, they were considered as opposites, right? But if you look in the mirror, you're going to see one person there, right? So it's a psychological thing. But I always tell people, and it's going to hint back to what Devo said about heart. No, I think that was you, Miss Maggie, that was talking about somebody being locked up. But if you take the hardest hardened criminal that's behind bars right now, and you place a newborn infant in that criminal's arms, you will see all the vulnerability you would need to see in a man. And at the same time, he will still show you that masculinity. He was softened like hospital cotton. But and he will, because that's the part where men show their vulnerability when it comes to their woman, and when it comes to a child or a newborn baby. That's when men show their vulnerability. But at the same time, they're going to show you that protective side of them in their masculinity, right? No matter what's happening, if that man had that baby in his arms, if he's falling down, that baby is not going to hit the ground. Nothing's going to happen to that baby. So that vulnerability side can coexist with that, with that traditional masculinity. So I mean, it's going to be a matter, like I said, it's going to be a matter of rebranding yourself when you know that you have to address that vulnerability side. Because a lot of us, we like to show that masculinity. We don't want to show that soft side of us. I'm not going to say that other word, but we want to show that masculinity side. You know what I mean? Because truth be told, it's not the women that's judging us. It's the other men. It's the other men. Right. And for us, see, like me, I have no problem showing that vulnerability in me. None. Because I know where my masculinity stands. I'm that strong-minded and wielded. But for the masses, a lot of men don't like to show that vulnerability in them because they don't want to be tested. They don't want to be shamed. And they feel like, showing that vulnerability, it taps into that safe space where they can come and talk to somebody and say, hey, man, this is what I'm going through. And a lot of men shy away from that part of that space. And we're going to talk about that some more, too.
Absolutely. And 330, same question to you, just about the masculinity. Do you agree the same with it can coexist?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Southside. What I saw his comment. Yeah, when you had especially that firstborn, especially if you're there, you kind of break down. And even then, you kind of go to yourself and you shed a tear. You don't want nobody to see that tear come out. But you shed a tear when you see that seed from your seed come out. But, the masculinity is there. It's what it is. But in what I had to do was, and it came out from my children, I had to establish my masculinity with them. And at the same time, because I had two daughters, I had to be able to talk to them and be honest with them, because I wanted to show them what kind of man they need to be looking for.
There you go.
You know, they never heard me curse. I used to curse back in the day. They never heard me curse. They never seen me drink. They never seen me with the women when I was single. You know, they never saw me like that. And so I was still vulnerable to them, and my vulnerability was being honest with them, and you also have to be vulnerable as men when you're by yourself too. And what I mean by that is you have to do the right thing. You have to still be that masculine man, but you still have to be vulnerable when you're by yourself, so that you can be living in truth. You're going to be clean. But that's just my own, you know, how I move. You know, I just try to be clean even when I'm by myself, because what can happen is you'll have those deep, dark secrets because of the things that you do when you're by yourself, and then you putting on the front in front of everybody else.
Right.
Like, you know, just like,
hey, bro, man, I mean, cut you off.
Come on, D.
You said something. I need just for you to elaborate.
Okay.
And this is like, you about to educate me. You about to school me, and I need that.
All right.
Every day we wake up in the morning, each and every day we wake up, a man has an opportunity to learn something new. So I'm about to learn something new. You said something. I'm by myself on a regular basis. I'm single. I live by myself. This house, this is all me.
I got you.
So you said something a little bit ago as far as like what does a man do by himself? What can you just elaborate on that? About being real with himself.
Appropriate. Just being appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like some guys, just like now, they, you know, these Epstein files and all of this stuff. These guys supposed to be outstanding guys in the eyes of the world.
Right.
But they got these deep, dark secrets of inappropriateness.
Okay. That mean I got you.
But they got these deep demons and dark things that
demons,
you know doing behind the
that
scenes.
no one knows about. Okay.
Right.
You know, you get up and you know, I'm gonna keep it clean, but at the same time, I'm gonna use it like this. Let's just say you by yourself, man. Man, you got an opportunity, man, to import and export females. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
that makes I got you.
At your age and where you are and what you want to be, do you want to do that?
Right.
I mean, you're single, you can do it.
Right.
But is that how you want to see yourself?
Right. I'm on board. I got you. Okay.
Right. You know, you could be home doing other things. You could be reading a book. You can be cleaning up. You could be out in the yard, or you know, if that's the case.
I could be on a Kandid Room.
You could be up here talking up. You know,
love that book.
You know what I'm saying? And for real though, that's what I'm saying. So now what you're doing is you're not being inappropriate. You could have been doing some other things. You're a single man.
Yeah.
So you up here, and then you was vulnerable enough to ask me to elaborate. That's what you just showed vulnerability. By saying for me to elaborate so you can learn something. And that's what it is. Apologizing, admitting when you're wrong, having a conversation with someone, not to just to try to find something on them and break it down, you know, break one word down in the whole conversation so you can have something to argue about. This is what I'm talking about. You just got that's being vulnerable, man. Vulnerable means being open.
Yeah.
You know, if you like this, if you like this all the time, you're not gonna be vulnerable.
Right.
You gotta be like this. You gotta be open.
Well, I mean, hey, shout out to Maggie for you know what I'm saying, topic she's doing.
Oh man.
And she brought one up, and this is a great one right here.
Yeah.
You truly there's true power with men having a conversation.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah, and I wanted to have this conversation. Of course, 3:30 pandemic. They both reached out to me. It was very because I mentioned and I wanted to have this conversation. Cause I don't even remember who it was. It was somebody in the chat that expressed that I needed to have a conversation about male and mental health after the news broke out about Rondell Moore, as well as Pierce.
Right.
So I felt it was appropriate because it's off season, it's really not a lot going on. So I was like, it's time to have this conversation. Definitely. So it's like, I want this to be where it relates to somebody else in that chat that might not be as bold to speak about how they're feeling. And it's going to help them. It's like, you know what? I'm seeing these gentlemen right here that are not afraid to be vulnerable and express themselves and talk about what they're going through. And I'm going to get a little bit more candid with you guys because I have some personal questions to ask you in a moment. But Big Will, Will the Thrill. We got 2 Wills on this channel. Same thing. You're just about the masculinity and vulnerability. Does it exist?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I was growing up kind of learning to A, respect women, B, fear God, C, know that life is hard, but you do kind of have that support structure in place. And I mean, the best thing for me to go back and echo, I think it was Southside Ricky's sentiments in the chat as well. I didn't realize how much would truly be expected of me in life until I got with Moira. We have been together 14 years now in November. I have 3 wonderful stepdaughters. I have 2 step-granddaughters and a step-grandson as well. So just that brings it home that, like, to quote The Undertaker, motherfucker, not everything is about you. Which is something that when you're on the spectrum, it's tough to not empathize, but it's tough to put yourself, like, you have to put yourself in that situation to kind of mentally adopt that sort of headspace, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I have a son that's on the spectrum as well, and it's a lot of social cues that they may not pick up on. So it's like you want that person to feel sad, they may not relate to that feeling of feeling sad. They just know how to react to certain something. So, but you can go ahead and keep going.
No, it's just like reacting to feelings isn't something I feel I have an issue with per se. My problem is that if you're struggling, I can feel the pain, I can empathize with it, but in order to fully start to help that person then deal with it, I need to then put myself in their shoes. It's something that I've kind of, maybe it's a coping mechanism, maybe it's just the way my mind works. But it is a way to kind of itemize things, to break it down and go, right, okay, that's how they're feeling. So now I know how I can help. And yeah, again, for me, doing content creation was a big way to sort of differentiate the two. Obviously, having played the game and doing things on a physical level, having a family, that's the physical manly side, but not enough men understand truly that the opposite of masculinity would be femininity, not vulnerability. If masculinity is here, femininity is here. Vulnerability is right down the middle. And I just feel like men, they need to get the help they need, whether it's from friends, whether it's professionally. As I say, and that's why it's a long road, and I'm just taking my first steps. So to anyone who loves my content personally, I would say that I don't apologize for the fact that yeah, there may be some delays, there may be some breaks, there may be some episodes that aren't up to pot, but the one thing that I have always tried to do is to keep myself open, because I would feel that to not be honest with you guys, to not open myself up and say, look, here's how I'm feeling, then that would make me A, a liar, and B, it would make me pig-headed, because if I want the help, then I need to open up and obviously say I'm struggling here. And that's why a lot of guys feel like there's no they go into the whole narrative of there's no one wants to hear it. I'm on my own here. No, that's not the case, but you yourself need to understand that you need to make those steps. You need to be the first one to write the message, make the phone call. And that's kind of what I would kind of say is one of the things that would be key to take away. It can be fixed. It is only temporary, but you need to be proactive in figuring out what works, so to speak.
Thank you for that. Will,
can I ask Will a question?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Will.
Yes,
How long you been in those children's lives, man?
Me and Mo are going on 14 years, so you're talking 13 years. They are grown women now, my stepdaughters. So the youngest is 28 and the oldest is 31, 32.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
So you've been
Grown-ass
with
women, but at the same
13
time,
years,
like,
right?
I'm immensely proud of them. And as we were saying earlier on, like, yes, it brings out the softness in a man. but come for one of those, like, come for one of those kids, or come for Moira, and you're gonna see Will the Thrill turn to Will the Kill real quick.
Okay. Now the reason why I asked, because I could hear it in your voice, right? About the kids and the grandkids, right? Well, at this point right here, man, just when you refer to them, just take the step part off.
Right.
Oh yeah,
that's your family.
I just wanted to explain the situation because obviously of what Maggie's come from and things like that, so that you guys knew. But in my eyes and in my heart, there ain't no step about it. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Let me add just one thing too. Let me just add one thing too, and let's get this clear, right? When masculinity and vulnerability coexist, that doesn't mean that you be vulnerable with everybody all the time.
Oh no.
Right. There are going to be times when people are going to are going to test that piece that you've established, right? So that'll be that time where you protect your vulnerability, right? Because it can actually take you out of character and lead to situations where it don't need to be, right? But it does mean having that emotional intelligence to know when, with caution, when to drop your guard. You know what I mean? Vulnerability cannot be used with just anyone. But vulnerability what it does do is become that glue for a deep friendship. And in your case, Debo, a romantic friendship, right? It can't become that glue. So without it, you see a lot of relationships go about these days where and friendships, matter of fact, that this seems superficial. All right. If they do these days, friends with benefits, right? So, but there's no trust there. There's no non-superficial feeling there. So a lot of men confuse masculinity with strength. You can be a man who can lift 300 plus pounds and still be that man who opens up about his feelings and about what he's going through. One does not cancel out the other. They do make that man whole, though. If people can see that masculinity and that vulnerability, that's when you're showing you're a man. Not because you holding in your stress, and when something happens, they see another side of you. But when they see a person or a man out, what we're talking about, that is able to have a balance to masculinity and vulnerability, they're saying, okay, that man pretty much has things in check, in the way that he wants it to be. Everything might not be perfect, but he does have his mental health in check.
Okay, I love that. That's true. And I kind of want to get speaking of, being vulnerable. So these are kind of personal questions I'm gonna ask for you guys, and then because it's going to lead up to getting to the last part of it. How can we have this conversation safely? How can you be vulnerable? How can you speak out? So I do have a chart that we can go into that, but this is kind of like a rapid fire here. So just like a quick response, if you can. We'll start with Debo again. What changed, if anything, when you finally, or if you're struggling with opening up? Because we don't even know if you're opening up or not. If, this is the first time that you're doing so, I commend you. And people in the chat, you can answer this question as well. what changed, if anything, when you finally opened up and took accountability for how you felt and expressing yourself? How did it make you feel?
Oh, extreme. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
I appreciate you. No, it went from questioning myself as far as like my not so much my manhood, but like how I conduct myself, to extreme like sincere beatitude, sincere happiness. Like, look, I gotta let them know what you gotta let the world know who you are,
Yeah.
flaws and all. You can't go around and tell people, you know what I'm saying, that I'm this, I'm that. And it goes back to what we talked about, the posturing.
Yeah.
You have to let people know, hey, I'm going through something right now.
Mhm.
And that's when I opened up about my whole thing about, you gentlemen don't know. I don't think you know. Um, I'm a cancer survivor.
Mm.
Oh
So
wow.
Mhm.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
I had
it
no
was
idea.
actually,
That's why I
yeah.
told you. Me and we had some deep conversations, and he talked about that vulnerability. And I'm glad you're back here to continue to talk about it.
Hell
Mhm.
yeah! You want to talk about strength? You're blessed to be sitting here with us, and we are blessed to
Exactly,
have you,
man.
brother.
Wow. That's why I was like, oh
Right.
my. Yeah.
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 And gentlemen, it was actually breast cancer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was 1 or 2% of the men in the world who had breast cancer. I
Wow.
got diagnosed 3.5 years ago. Went through 6 months of chemo.
Wow.
And Maggie knows, but I'll introduce my
Mhm.
situation to you, gentlemen. I have no chest right here. It was removed. Uh, I have no chest right here. They removed 5 lymph nodes from my right here.
Wow.
2 months of radiation. But what got me through everything was telling the world, I'm a man. I'm a straight man. I'm a dude. I'm a homie. And guess what? I had breast cancer. So you
Mm.
got to open up. You got to tell the world what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Had I internalized that, your boy probably wouldn't be here,
Right.
because there's so
Right.
much
Exactly.
going on in that situation. So you had to let them know, like, you got to open up. Now, of course, my situation was extreme, but anything that you go through in life, you had to open up. You got to let the world know who you are
Right.
and what you're going through.
Mm.
So, to answer your question, Maggie, what I'm saying, I know we were in rapid fire. I'm sorry, but yeah, no,
No, go
man,
ahead.
like, no, when I opened up, it's, what I'm saying, like a huge 180. Unfortunately, it took an event like me having cancer to say, you know what, I gotta let the world know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have to, because I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm on with it,
Okay.
man.
We're post
It
watershed.
just takes it just takes my communication to get to a set of ears to let somebody know they're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
So yeah, no. When I finally opened up about anything in life, I felt good, because you're giving the world your all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hiding anything. You're
Yeah.
not okay. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? You're not hiding your mental health situation. Hey, I'm going through something right now. Help me out.
Mhm.
Or conversely, you can be like, look, I went through this. Let me tell you how I went through this. Somebody,
Mhm.
Maggie, gentlemen, somebody's watching right now. I promise you, I fucking promise you. Somebody's watching this right now who needs to hear every single word that we're saying right now. And it's going to help
Mhm.
them out go
Right.
through something.
Mhm.
It could be 1 out of 200, 1 out of 1,000, 10 out of 10,000. Somebody's going to hear something that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I'm going through something, but not only am I going through something, they're going through something.
Yeah.
We've all opened up about a situation. To this point, we have all opened up about a situation that's going on in our life right now.
Mhm.
Somebody didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you had to open up. So what
Yeah.
changed? When to answer your question, what changed when I opened up? There was beatitude. There was happiness, because I'm letting the world know what's going on with me, and I can
Right.
get guidance. Hey, you might meet a friend or two along the way. So,
True indeed.
yes, sir.
Debo, especially since this is a male-centered show tonight, just a quick, how did you discover you had breast cancer? Because of course it was rare to even know that you had it and find it. Just let anybody else know, males here. It's important to get that checked as well. But how did you get your diagnosis? How did you, know that it was going on with you?
You won't believe it. It was the same thing women go through. You know how women find a lump on their breast?
Mm-hmm.
I found a lump. My bad. I found a lump right here on my chest.
Wow.
It was very small. It was very small. Very defined. And each time I pressed on it, I felt resistance from my inner body. Okay. So what happened was that initially I thought it was a spider bite. I thought, oh, man, God, because when those no mosquito bite, God, man, mosquito got me. It wasn't nothing like that. It was very small and it was very small and very round, and just sat there. It just sat there, and I was like, man, that spider got me. I don't know how it got me, but we in Georgia, we got critters around here and everything.
Right.
I don't know, so. After a week, I noticed it because each time I took a shower, I was, do my thing, and it just sat there. It was not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going anywhere. During the nighttime, oh, by the way, it was very hot, and it was very, very the bump was very hot and very itchy. So during nighttime, I would scratch it subconsciously because it was itchy. After a week, it opened up, and a lot of discharge came out. I'm like, hey, I'm a man, I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Let me, you know what I'm saying? Put a little something on it. Bam, Band-Aid. It'll take care of itself.
Yeah.
And then take care of itself. It kept getting worse and worse. The wound came from this to this. It kept opening up. It looked like someone shot me.
Yeah, we're ready to go then, bro.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
It hit the oxygen, hit it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I went to Piedmont here. I'm in Morrow, Georgia. I went to Piedmont Henry Hospital, and they looked at it to the ER room. They looked at it, and I'll never forget it. They just had a look in the face, so they put some ointment on it and a huge bandage on it, and they said you gotta go next door right away.
Exactly.
So they referred me the next day to the Piedmont breast specialist in Stockbridge. I had to take a mammogram. Once again, fellas, I'm a dude. I had to take a mammogram. They looked at it. The next day, it was about 7:30 in the evening. My phone rang. And it came, I'll never forget it. It came from Piedmont Cancer Institute. They weren't calling to see how I was doing. One of the oncologists called me and let me know, you got to come in right away. It's breast cancer.
Wow.
And yeah, wow. And that's why I said to myself, but out of all that, the main thing I can remember is that my mom had breast cancer. Before she passed, she fought for like 12 years.
Wow.
I took my mom to most of her appointments. And each time I went there, I listened to the doctors and everything. So everything they were telling me, I already knew. I already knew.
Wow.
And that helped me out right there. So, so fellas, or anybody, whenever you feel something is going on in your body, just check it out. Because had I not went to Piedmont, more than like I said, it was stage 3 breast cancer, Maggie, and I probably wouldn't be here right now if I had not checked it out. So to answer your question, that's how I found out about it right there. So, fellas, gentlemen, whenever somebody is going to get a colon check or like prostate check, I know it sounds crazy. Get a mammogram. You never know. I was
Wow.
1-2% of men in the world, in the entire world, had it.
Wow, that's
And,
great.
and as of right now, I'm cancer free. So the God be
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Hallelujah.
yes.
Cardi.
Glad you're doing better, and if I can throw my experiences health wise into the mix as well, it was not as bad as cancer, but for my dad, he was not a healthy man. He had diabetic retinopathy, type 1 diabetic, so his eyes were gone. He was an electrician for a long time, but they had to create a new role for him because he could no longer be up doing the electrics and all that stuff. In addition to that, he had really bad breaks in both legs, so he ended up walking with a limp. His kidneys were failing, all the rest of it. But because of the diabetes, he used to say, I was quite prepared, not for the suddenness of it, but he told me for a long, long time, well, I won't see 50. And I used to tell him, bullshit. He passed at 44. So I realised that how long is that now? 9 years. My dad's away. But I realised that if something's going on in your body, you need to get it checked. And that's how like I'm glad that I did, because I got to a point where I had to go and get it checked. This silly bastard went and I had a choice: go to the hospital and get it checked out. I had a dental infection. I had the choice of going and getting it checked out at the emergency out of hours dentist, or going and kitting up on the sideline to play a game of football. Which do you think I chose? Sideline. So I didn't get on the field. The warm up made me feel bad enough, but I ended up in Glasgow Royal, in like the Queen University Hospital, which is the big hospital in Glasgow. Full blown septicemia. The night I went into hospital, I weighed 202 pounds. I had to be fully tracheotomied, and I don't know if you can still see that scar. It's maybe a bit faded now, but so they fully tracheotomied me. I had to go through a full recovery. My first question to them, I couldn't speak. My tongue had swollen to the point where it filled my whole mouth. So I wrote on a piece of paper, I'm a singer. If you cut my throat open, will I still be able to sing? They said to me, yeah, we're not actually cutting that low down, so your vocal cords will be fine and all the rest of it. But I was 202 pounds when I went into the hospital and 143 when I came out.
Wow.
So to still be here is a blessing. And I sit before you talking at what, 179 pounds. So I'm getting back up there. I feel good, I feel strong, I feel healthy. But as I said earlier on in the show, it's just about taking every day. But when it comes to that sort of thing, do as I say, don't do as I do. If you've got the choice to get it checked out or go and kit up, get your ass to the hospital. Like from experience.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to answer the question. So, what's changed for you since you've kind of opened up and everything? And then we'll get to pandemic and then 330 as well.
Well, I guess for me, it's just the level of respect that you get tends to be higher. As I say, this is speaking as a man. My fiance's experience has been different because women are often failed, as I say, just the flaws in their training or the flaws in the. I'm not sure if it's a universal thing. You could comment on that, Maggie, but whether it's the same in the States, but in the UK, it's really, really bad, the mental health training. And what mental health training they do get is predominantly for males. And not understanding that, obviously, yes, we still have estrogen, but the balance is so much different. There's a lot that they don't even really take into account at the stage of diagnosis. So, yeah, the most important thing you can do is if something's not right, go and find out why it's not right. Yeah, and as I say, if there's anything that opening up here and really laying it all out on the table for anyone that knows. I've said this to Maggie before, but Will the Thrill as a character, he's mostly me, but I do exaggerate it a little bit and place my tongue firmly in my cheek. But what you have on the show right now is William, and I have seen that I don't need to portray some character. That's why I'm just myself to the nth degree, because you guys in the chat, you guys in the panel as well, you seem to appreciate that from me. And as I say, having survived what I have up to this point, nothing about opening up and being vulnerable in turn makes me weak. And so it is for these guys as well. So I appreciate immensely having the space to be so candid. Because as I say, not a lot of people know most of the stuff that I've spoken about tonight on the show. So, but if that can help somebody else in turn who's going through some of the same things, then that's what we strive for. So yeah, hopefully we should be having more chats like this in the future. If the people need it. But yeah.
Right. I'm glad. Thank you, Will. And thank you for being so open and honest, telling your story. And I'm glad you're here to speak about it. You know, a lot of people have went through, some tough times that a lot of people don't know about. So for you to be open about that, somebody else could have had the same situation and it can relate to it and lost a lot of weight. I'm sure mentally it took a toll on you. Pandemic, same thing here, just opening up to, and then hold on, let me go ahead and get to the chat too a little bit. One time for the fan, thank you again for tuning in. Good evening, panel. I know y'all had a show going on as well.
Jack,
appreciate you tuning in. Jack, what's going on? As far as Lady Fuse, that's my best friend, sister. Her kids and husband were in a bad accident. Thank God that they're alive to see it. No, her husband still doesn't even recall what happened. He had some trauma to his brain. He's alive. He can talk about it, but he's kind of walking with a cane now. But the babies also had a bad blunt of it. They were in a hospital for a good little minute, so they're recovering. So it went from him being the provider, going to work, to he even made a statement the other day where he was just like saying that he just doesn't feel he wants to get, I think they have a GoFundMe, and I think the message was, he wants to get back to normal life where he can protect, provide for his kids. And he's feeling even bad about asking for help because, they have a mortgage and things like that. And because, she has to take care of the kids and them, she hasn't been able to work, and he's a veteran. So they do rely on some help and assistance, but it's just not enough. So for him to be vulnerable and say, hey, I need this, I need help. He came down to it and is like, you know what? I'm gonna put my pride aside and ask for that help. And so I do hope that, and I'll put it in the chat if anybody want to go fund me. You can see that story and everything else.
Absolutely.
So I commend that she's here tonight, and tell Greg I love him if he is watching. He said, he's now has short-term memory loss. He doesn't remember anything once they walked out the house. So, so he has to be reminded of what happened. He doesn't even recall what happened. He just knows that he was protecting his kids, though.
That really is hell. After the seizures, I've been suffering from the short-term memory loss as well. It's terrible. I'm just glad that I have Moira, and I'm sure Greg's glad that he has you as well, because sometimes I will have a conversation with Mo. She's like, and then I'll come back into the room, say 5 minutes later, and she's like, oh, you said you were going to make the coffee? And I'm like, what, did I? It's something as simple as that, but it shows you that when you've said it 5 minutes before, you get really frustrated. But what my advice would be to do is just take the little wins and build it back up slowly, because he's going to get frustrated. I've played guitar 20 years, so I'm above like degree level guitar player, so pretty skilled in most people's eyes, but I've had to build that back up. When I got out of hospital, I couldn't remember how to play a G chord. So trying to build up the motor skills, the muscle memory again, it's like it's slowly coming together again. And as I say, I'll start posting some music soon as maybe a little inspiration to some of the guys who are at that stage where they're like, nah, I can't build it back. You can. It's just a matter of just, well, how do you build a muscle again? You go to the gym slowly and you work it, reps, and that's all it takes. But yeah, from my side, I know that you can get back on top, so to speak. So if he needs any advice or anything, then I'm happy to do that. Just tell him to fire me a message, and if I can help, I will. But yeah, the memory loss, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you also put that out there, Larry. Fuse, and of course, Big Will. I mean, Will the Thrill. I just love that we're having these candid moments, the purpose of this show, where we're going to get real here. So, of course, disclaimer, everybody, if this is a trigger, if this, take a step away. If it's too much for you, breathe, come back to it. If you can't, it's okay. Meditate a little bit and just control, try to calm down, because I know this is a little triggering here. But so 3:30, and I think Fandemic, I don't know if you finished up on how you felt about opening up. Both of y'all can go ahead and chime in on that.
Fandemic, go ahead, man.
Okay. I mean, first of all, if you're in here listening, please don't shy away. This is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody has something going on that tests us on that mental level. Like Lady Few and her husband incidents. Debo and his breast cancer, Will and his incident, Maggie dealing with trying to maintain a family with her daughters, and 3:30 dealing with the military, lack of military. I'm gonna put it like that. 3:30. I know what you're going through, bro. But please don't feel ashamed about what you're going through on the mental. Right? This is what we're here for. This is what the show is for. Right? You have to. We have to break that stigma of having to stay silent, right? It got to the point where Sister Few had to, they had to open up and say, okay, I needed help, and that's what this show is all about, right? Extending that vulnerability to where other people can see you for you, right? They don't want to see the facade that you're putting on, that you got everything is okay. That's not what everybody wants to see. You're right. Now there are a few out there that wants you seeing you down. Right? But for the masses, for the most part, everybody want to see the vulnerability in you. They want to earnestly, they want to be a part of your life. So don't shy away from this conversation. Don't log out. Stay in as long as you can, because this is one of those conversations, right? But when you make that change, right, to open up, right, and especially for a man, that change usually is not like really instant, because we are stubborn. You don't remember who said it, but one of the things that men have to get over is going back and forth to the hospital, right? We hate that. Women don't have no problem going. They'll set that appointment and they go. Men, we have to be almost dragged to the hospital, to check on us, whether it be mentally or physically.
Don't let y'all catch a cold. Oh Lord.
Yeah. Oh, we the biggest babies.
Oh man.
I'll have
that biggest babies.
The man flu does exist.
I'd rather have a broke leg than a cold. I tell you the truth.
I will die upon that hill. Man flu is real, and it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, right. True indeed. But people, and I think Debo hinted on it earlier. It's about opening up. It's about reintroducing yourself to the world, right? And how you navigate going forward. That initial act of opening up, it's going to feel like a risk. It's going to be that bringing you out of your comfort zone, pretty much. But that most immediate change that you're going to experience is going to be psychological. That's a word. Psychological, right? I mean, it's going to tap you there. Opening up brings back your mental clarity. Once you stop using 50% of your brain to try to act normal, that energy that you was using on that, after you open up, it becomes used to problem solving, creativity, focus, much like what James Pierce Jr. didn't use He was using his 50% of that brain power to do something else that he shouldn't have been doing. But had he opened up for help, probably somebody could have helped him stay out of that situation. Right. Another benefit, right, when you open up, and a man admits that he is struggling, your friends and your peers see it too, and they're able to open up with their own stories. So we can pretty much say we can lean on each other, help each other out, and it signals to others that it can be safe, and you can be safe, and that person will feel safe and honest around you. That and it deepens the bond that your friendship has, or the friendship that you have established with that person, right? Because if a person comes in thinking that they're going to continue to be shamed about what they're going through, they're not going to feel safe around you and open up to you like you think they would. But once you open up and you feel that little bit of discomfort, you may even be, feel like you're exposing yourself and feel regretful. But over time, that honesty becomes a new and stable you. Your mental gets to the point where you say, okay, I can handle this. I can get back to handling my family. I can get back to working. I can relieve that stress that I was going through. It's not easy. It is definitely not easy. But at the same time, that mental clarity that you need to get through whatever you're going through is going to be more noticeable in you, and not just you, your friends. And your friends, I mean, like I said earlier, we all have families, right? So you have to keep that mental part of your psychological in check to deal with your family, to keep working, to provide for your family. So in the way this world is going, you have to throw in being that protector. And you can't do that by having your mind weighed down with things that you need to open up about, right? So opening up is that key. We have to open up for the little change, at least.
Said it beautifully. I love that. Because it's when you holding that in, that's when it balls up, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then that one problem that you could have avoided becomes that problem. Because, and like I think it was 3:30, it says it's not even the initial, like, he crashed, he was showing out because it was other things going on that led up to that moment. Then she decided, I don't want to be with you no more. Don't call me. So all of that is like, oh, what happened here? Now you're exploding. It's too late at this point. And your mind is like, you're not focused on your career. You're not focused on anything but reacting.
Right.
You just black out. And it's like, and then of course, like you said, you look defeated, and it was like, damn it, when you realize I messed up.
I messed up.
Absolutely.
That's what the enemy does.
You.
I said that's what the enemy does for you.
Up.
He'll get you out there, and then as soon as you out there, he'll back off, and you be looking around like, where am I? What I'm doing? But to answer this question here, I've got a kind of an extreme move. What changed? I was living in one town, and I was going through. This was 1995, I think, and I was going through. Great job, world at my feet. I was DJing, and rap was hot back then. I had my drum machine and studio and all of that, but it was just something missing, right? Oh yeah, I was doing it then. But I started falling off, and I didn't know why. Everything was right there for me, and I really had all those symptoms, except for the isolation. Okay. And I was in a bad place, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Man, it's your environment." I was like, "Man, I'm doing all I can do, but I'm not getting anywhere." I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So, and my dad was in that town, but everybody else, my family was in Georgia, but my dad was up here. We was working at the same plant. So what I did was I left that town and moved to another town. Didn't know anybody. I just left everybody. Left my dad. So if you leave, me and my dad was like that. But for me to leave my dad, and look, I'm his namesake and everything, I knew I was in a bad place. And I bought a house,
Had the money, you know, like I'm trying. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, James ain't worried about no money. I wasn't worried about no money. You know, this was what the problem was. So I bought a house, and I kind of just stayed to myself for years. I dealt with my kids best I could. Had 3 children, and it was suggested to me to go to therapy because I had good insurance. It was like $20. You go, you pay the copay, you get to go sit on the couch and they talk to you. So they gave me some coping mechanisms for what I was going through, but I was not diagnosed with PTSD because there wasn't a therapist that understood that. They knew the other stuff. So, and that's why I was talking to Debo, man. I mean, right now, bro, you can meditate, man, and just learn yourself, learn stuff about yourself, be honest with yourself. And when I did that, when I learned myself, who I was, through my good and my bad, I called my moms. We had them conversations, you know, even some things that I didn't agree with that happened, how she handled things. I didn't fuss with her. I just talked about it.
Right.
My kids were grown then. Man, I flew all my kids in, man. They thought I was dying. Daddy, you ain't dying, is you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I'm like, no. I was like, no. You know, they thought they was gonna come and you know, I'm on the bed, right? But I said, no, I want to see y'all together. And I talked to them, became vulnerable, and just I felt good about myself again. You know, like those things I was talking about, you know, you just being clean, being honest. You don't care about what nobody say, you know, because you know you're standing on solid ground. And you know, and then you can just talk to people. And sometimes I have to catch myself because sometimes I'll be too transparent. You know, just not ugly transparent, but just free.
Yeah.
You know, I can talk to anybody about anything. My daughter just texts me. She's listening. She's in Texas, and she's listening. She texts me. You know, I said, look, I'm gonna be on here. You know how I get down. You know, I'm gonna keep it real with them.
Yeah.
And he just texts me, and you know, she's a school teacher over there. But it's just what finally happened is you will have that joy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, nothing specific. You just have that joy on the inside of you, man. When you just wake up and ain't nothing, you ain't been tossing and turning all night.
Yeah.
Because whatever you had, you able to be honest with yourself. And you just say, hey, you know, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a clean thought, and I'm going to handle it like this. And then I'm going to leave it to God after that, because I'm going to do the best I can do. And that's what happens. You know, when you finally open up, if you open it up in truth, not in denial, but in truth.
That's accountability.
Right. Yeah. Accountability. Because you got people open up and go to their grave just to be right, and they wrong.
And they wrong.
They just are wrong in 2 left shoes. But you know, but it's about feeling good about. Come on, Will.
No, I was just saying we're not put on this world to judge, so I guess we're best to leave it in the hands of the judge that sees all things, because only he truly knows. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you have a part to play in it. You know, you have to if you have faith, you have to put in the action and the work. And just like with Debo, he didn't even realize that God was getting him ready for what he was going to go through with his mom. You know,
right?
Yeah, it was coming, bro. You know, but if you didn't know, you might not have, made that move.
Yeah,
but you knew because you already been through it, and then you wasn't ashamed of it because you understood the language, and you understood what was going to come with that.
Right.
And then now you were able to come out and tell everybody else, hey man, this thing ain't just on women. It's on us. It's on everybody.
Yeah.
So
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Do indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed.
So we've been on for about 2 hours and 19 minutes. I'm just going to ask you fellas, we're going to wrap this up. Are y'all okay to finish up this last little topic, or do you got to get off?
I'm good.
Hey,
great conversation.
We riding with
Okay.
you.
Good. Maggie,
Okay.
fly a plane. Maggie, fly a plane. We good.
Hey,
Just want to check in because, you know, I already knew this topic because like I couldn't even get to everything I wanted to get to because I knew this was going to go on and go on.
Mm-hmm.
But now we do need to talk about how to safely have these conversations, you know, how men can start having these conversations safely with amongst themselves, to their, support system, what have you, just stepping out and say, you know what, something is not right and I need help. How to safely do so. So of course, I got a little bit of education for you. I like to get people to kind of take a screenshot of it. Let me take this. So basically, with this one, how men can start having these conversations safely. First and foremost, number one, find the right moment. Choose a private, relaxed time. So it needs to be where your emotions are not high. You're sitting down, you're calm, but to where you can speak clearly. And so someone can understand you as well. Because of course, you know how it is. Everybody had kids at some point, when they crying and showing out, oh, my apple is gone, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, calm down, Billy. Okay, breathe. What's wrong with you right now? So when you're high emotions, you're angry, you're mad, it's not going to come out the same. So choosing a private, relaxed time where you feel safe to express yourself. You don't want other people listening, but you're speaking to somebody you trust to have that conversation in a safe and comfortable setting. Then number two, it doesn't have to be grand. You don't have to come in and buy. Let me tell you everything. Start small. Get confidence. Get confident. Feel like you can speak about this safely. So share a thought or feeling. Example, I've had a really rough week. Your friend is going to say, hey, what do you mean? Explain. Yada, 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 yada. This is what happened. Then, of course, I just mentioned it. Get comfortable with listening. So to someone that's taking in what you're telling them, hey, this is how my day is, fellas, also, and women too, whoever you're expressing it to, we have to learn to listen first before reacting. So get comfortable with just listening. You might get a little triggered by hearing it or whatever, but don't say anything and let them finish. Listen without judgment. Acknowledge their feelings and saying, you know what? And then how I say it is take a step up of coaching. It's when you do react to it, you kind of repeat it. So you're saying that you had a bad day at work, your boss got on you, your whatever, your dog did this. So to my understanding, you feel terrible today, right? Yes. That means you're actually actively listening, taking it all in, and then it's like, you know what I think you need to be doing is, or your feelings are valid. So that person is feeling like, so it's that relief that you get. It's like, you know what? Somebody understands me. Somebody is getting it. And you give them some sound advice, like Fandemic was saying earlier. And then last but not least, lead by example. Model openness and honesty. Show it's okay to be vulnerable. And that says a lot, because some people will come out and open up, and then someone's I'm laughing at you. Why would you feel like that? You're soft. Men don't do this, or your woman. It's like, I don't need no man to be soft like this. A lot of women do that. They want them to be strong and tough, and they show any type of emotions. You being, you're a little sassy and things like that. And it's like, and that's why a lot of men say, you know what, I can't come to you and talk to you about my problems. So they'll go out and drink. They'll do other things to cope with themselves because they can't confide in that person. I'm going to say this. If you feel like you can't speak to that particular person, find somebody safe that you can, even if it's professional help. If you just feel like you're like 330 was saying, it was his surroundings. So he probably couldn't reach out to these people because they expect you to do the bad and do the negative, and they want to keep you in that negative because it's like, hey, we're partying, we're DJing, we're drinking, we're doing all this. Why would you want to change that? We're having fun out here.
Right.
Get to somebody that's like, nah, man, you doing a little too much. Sit down. Let's talk about what's really truly going on. That helps. So even if it's your church, a counselor, whatever you can find, an elderly person, whoever you feel safe to talk to, do it. It's that build up. It's like, you can breathe like, I just got off my chest. That feels good. So, how men can start having these conversations is extremely important. And then, of course, fellas, if you guys want to start with you again, Debo, what are other ways of having, just safe conversations with your fellow man or whoever you speak to?
Great question. And let me tell you a story real briefly. And it happens without you even knowing it. So I had a next door neighbor. It was actually I live in a apartment community, and him, it was a younger brother, very young. He's about 25, 26. And him and his girlfriend, they live next door. And every night I heard arguments and this, that, and a third. And I was like, man. But each time he saw me outside, I'd be outside, drinking my beer, smoking my cigar. Very, very cordial, all that. But each time we went inside his house, his girlfriend was I would hear arguments nonstop. And he was going through it. He was unemployed. I think he was from South Carolina. And he was just really, doing odd jobs here and there. And so every now and then he would come by and say, hey, he would call me Unc, because I was like twice his age, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can see why he called me Unc, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, y'all can see why he called me Unc. And he was like, you got a beer?
I'm an auntie now, I don't graduate to auntie.
Your auntie now. Look at Maggie T, the auntie. Maggie T, the auntie.
I'm auntie now. I'm like,
yeah.
You look
You know
20.
what I mean? Look at you. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So one night, him and his girl, they was going back and forth. And they were being real. He was being well, actually both of them being very loud and very boisterous. And one time he came over, and like I said, next door neighbor, and he knocked on my door. Well, not on my screen door, because I always keep my door open, to let some air in. He's like, and he walked in. I said, come on in, man. And he said, I can't do it. He said, I said, I'm hearing you guys argue all the time. He sat on my couch. I gave him a beer. He cracked the beer open. He took a sip. And he put his head down. And he started sobbing, crying uncontrollably. I said, talk to me, bro. What's up? And he let it all out. How unhappy he was. What he was going through his girl. And he let it all out. And when I looked at him as he was doing it, I was like, how you feel, bro? You feeling better? And he said, thank you for listening. Thank you, Unc. And he didn't say nothing. He just cried. So the best way to answer your question, Maggie, the best way to have this conversation is just sit down. You have to release.
Right.
Early in the show, I made a comment that sometimes a stranger is your best friend. To this day, I have no idea who this kid was. His actual real name. He called me Unc. I call him nephew. What up, nephew? What, Unc? No idea who he was. No idea his real name. And he just sobbed for 10 straight minutes. Wow. He released and let it go. Now, would that work all the time? No. But at that moment, he did. But he chose that opportunity, that moment, to release. And once he was done, crying, we have a conversation. And he moved out.
Okay.
And well, actually, they both moved out. You know what I mean? And he let me know. He hit me up of like probably 3 weeks later. He said I broke up with her. I found a job at Home Depot. This and a third, but he's getting life back together. But that one particular moment that he sat down and just started sobbing, this dude was sobbing. I mean, he was just sobbing. He was at his breaking point. He needed someone to talk to. So if you need somebody to talk to him. It could be you fellas. It could be Maggie. It could be someone outside. You have to release, because if you don't release, it's going to mess you up. So anybody watching this right here, you have to release and let it go. You gotta have a conversation. You have to have that conversation with somebody. A conversation does not have to involve sentences, paragraphs. It can just simply be in front of somebody, releasing yourself. Like I said, in my opinion, but as men, that can be difficult. But my best conversations have been in situations, and like I said, I've been through homelessness, I've been through cancer, I've been through 2 divorces. Some of the best conversations I've had is sitting down and not saying a word, but just releasing and having that listening ear. So as men, we had to had the opportunity. It don't matter where it's at. You had to release. It don't matter where it's at. You could be a QT. It could be, you know what I'm saying, McDonald's. You just got to talk to somebody. You had to release, because if you internalize it, not only is it bad for you, it's not going to be good for the outcome as far as like what you can possibly do as far as being erratic, in my opinion. So, you ask your question, Maggie. You just got to go out there and just release, let go. So, yeah.
You had a question?
No, he said.
Let me. Oh, to answer my question. Okay, I was like, okay.
Debo, you led by example too, bro. He was watching you, man. That's why he felt real comfortable with you. That's why he was able to just come over and especially a young cat. Right. And the words of Big Low, them young Thundercats, man, they ain't gonna cry in front of you unless they crashing.
And the thing about 330. The thing about it, man, is that I'm 51 years old. You know what I'm saying? So we all, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting up there. I don't know how old you are, man, but I'm getting up there. You have to guide these young niggas. You have to.
For real.
Because if you don't, the homeboy could have made. I'm trying, and had I not been there for him,
hey man,
who knows what happened that night?
He might have pulled a JPJ.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Cowboy, Cowboy Will. You know, 330. Just like the OGs guided us back in the 80s and 90s, we had to guide them.
Yes.
But with our words. You gotta guide. You have to see guidance. So absolutely. And you know, last time I checked, he moved out of state. He went back home. But back to the issue, back to the question, Maggie. Yeah, you had to just be comfortable to release. No matter where it is. I mean, how can how men can start having conversations safely? You gotta run. You just gotta do it. You have to do it. You cannot internalize it. Please don't internalize it. If you internalize any feelings going in you, the outcome could be all crazy.
Okay. And pandemic, same question for you. Can you safely have these conversations and opening up?
Yeah. You have to create that space that's needed, right? Like 330 said about Debo, he created that safe space for that young man. And he knew immediately. See, that young man could have went any place in the world. It's a big old earth, and he could have went any place in the world, but he went over to Debo, right? So you have to create that safe space and show people that they can come talk to you, right? Which leads me to my situation. I don't know why, but people tend to gravitate to me when it comes to asking for advice. They tend to gravitate to me when they want to vent about something. Now, depending on who that person is and what type of relationship I have with that person, is whether or not I'm blunt with that person, or do I ease into that conversation with that person. Like with my sons, I can be blunt, right? Because they know me as a father, right? But if it's anybody on the streets or somebody I work with, you want to ease your way into it, right? Like me, I always invite somebody to go get something to eat. You know, I'm a foodie. I love eating. You know, I always invite people to go eat. Basketball goal in my front yard. I go out there, shoot basketball with them, and I ease my way into a conversation, right? And the best way to do that and not have them feel like you're browbeating them is to get that one question that'll get them to thinking, you know, or get them not thinking but relaxed, right? And at the same time, you want to keep that vibe too. So if you're out there shooting basketball, or you're working on a car, or whatever you're doing, you still want to maintain that vibe, right? But at the same time, you want to get into a question that will get them to open up, right? And usually, most of those questions, like me, I always go because I work a lot, and I always resort to how I get the feeling I'm feeling burnt out, you know, with the same old routine lately, and you know, hey, it get a little heavy out here, and I'm like, how are you feeling? You know, that type of thing. So like Chris, I think it was Krista who said it, you have to create that space to get them to open up. You know, don't have them feeling like they have to hold that in, you know, where they to the point where they feeling like they're weak, you know, and you know, if you do that part, like with Will, he created that space for that young man. That man felt safe enough to go to Will and say, hey, you got a minute, I need to talk. Or he just sat there, opened up a beer and sat there and talked with him. You know, me, myself, I had to refrain from a lot of alcohol lately. Here, I've been going through, well, have had a couple of bouts with gout. So alcohol is not that thing for me anymore. I usually just pop it open a beer and we go to the back porch or deck and we sit down and we talk. I don't do that part anymore. But clearing that head space, you know, giving that opportunity for that person to open up to you. You want to be that friend. Don't be the person that it's fine to go to a minister, but you know what a minister is going to do, right? And that person might not be spiritual. So if somebody comes to you looking for an answer, you have to be that person that can be, what's the right word? Open. Let's put it like that, to whatever that person is going through, because like everybody's not experiencing the same problems. But to have somebody come to you and like they could have went to a therapist, they could have not say they couldn't call you, Maggie, but they could have went to a therapist, or they could have went to somebody in their family looking for advice, but they didn't. They came to you. So with that, you are put on the stage to create that space for that young man or that young woman or whoever, and have that listening ear first, and be impartial to giving an answer that they could actually use, not one that you would use yourself, but one that they could actually use themselves, and let them know, hey, you don't have to figure all this out all at one time. You know, take it bits and pieces, take it by stages, one day at a time. You know, there are things, whatever you're going through, there are things that happened that led up to where you are now. So you go all the way back and say, hey, look, when did you start feeling like this? And wherever they start, that's what you address first, right? You don't want to try to give them an answer that's going to try to solve all their life issues, because it's not going to happen. But you go back to the point where everything's starting to fall out of place. You can address that little bit right there, and leave room for them to come back to you. You know, because sometimes they'll leave there feeling like they got all the answers in the world, and they don't. Right. So when you leave that door open for them to come back to you on a day 1 or day 2 or 3 visit or whatever, leave that opportunity for them to come back to you and say, hey, remember when we talked about so and so, such and such? Then you finish your conversation. But you don't want to leave that person feeling like they don't have an answer, or you weren't that person that they felt that you could listen to them and be impartial. So I mean, to like Kristen said, creating that open space is not easy. And you can't do it with everybody. So you have to depend on, like I said, that relationship you have with that person. You have to be very careful of your vulnerability. Matter of fact, of addressing whatever situation that they're going through.
Absolutely. And Southside Ricky, your comment right there said, I had an OG like that. He used to drop by at least twice a day when I came home from jail, even after I got on my feet, up until someone took his life. He actually kept me on this path.
Yeah.
So you had somebody that guided you know, when you was changing your life around. And I'm hoping that this conversation is going to encourage you to continue on your path. No judgment. You know, people have a past. Long as what you're doing in the present moment to improve yourself and do better, you know, I commend that. So, I mean, I'm glad you're here talking about it. And I do, you know, hope that that path is still easy for you. And even if it's not, just know that everybody has a moment. Long as you just talk about it, work it out, and get through it. You know, we're all human here. So sometimes we fall, but we got to get back up. But don't beat yourself up if you do fall. You're not weak. You just had a human moment where there were some errors in your ways that you will correct.
Yeah.
So,
and at the same time too, don't feel like you have to have that answer for that person too, right? Because if that person came to you, he is looking for answers, but at the same time, don't feel like you are the answer, right? Because there are many avenues, such as self. Miss Maggie, you started your platform, you started your business in the mental health field. So you, like now I have your connections, right? I can say, hey, I have this young lady I can introduce you to. Maybe she can have some answers for you. So don't, just because that person comes to you, don't mean that you are the answer. So don't close that door. Before you have opportunity to shut it.
Right.
And also,
the 3:30.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna get to you in a minute, Will.
Yeah, no problem.
But go ahead. You can go ahead. And then 3:30 next.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, let Will go ahead.
No, it was just more from the point of you're going to hear, as a man especially, a lot of myths. And that's exactly what they are. They are myths. That path that Ricky's talking about, it's a rocky path, but it's not written in law that you can't fall off of the path. It's right there. You can get back on. So that's what you need to bear in mind. And also, we need to dispel this myth that somehow it makes you less of a man to open up. I would feel like to keep it in, as I say, it's pig-headed, it's stupid. It's ultimately only harming yourself. But if you can open up, like as we say, we've torn off plenty of band-aids tonight, all 5 of us. We've all said things that perhaps we wouldn't be comfortable talking about with just anyone. But that was the whole ethos of tonight's show, was showing you that it's okay to be open as a man, because it doesn't make you weak. If anything, it makes you braver as a man, because as I say, the path's rocky. You're gonna take some cuts and some bruises, but to show those off, to teach the next ones that are coming along the path behind you, to impart those lessons, is something that we as Debo says, we as the OGs need to teach these YNs that are coming up. So that's basically where I'm at with it. Is just don't be afraid to open yourself up, because you never know, it can make friends of acquaintances. Because as I say, Maggie and me and Fandemic have been working together for some time now. It's my first time on talking with 3:30, first time on talking with Debo, but I can tell you now it won't be the last, because we know enough about each other now, and we've had it out. So if we ain't friends by now, then something ain't right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's called connection.
That. That's definitely called connections. And it was something that you said, Will. Dang, I lost it now. I lost it. It'll come back to me.
Yep. Sure.
But go ahead. But 3:30, if you want to go in on your, I'm gonna try to think about what I just said. But go ahead. You're just having
Okay.
that, well, you know what? Here it is. That's
Yeah,
what it
come on.
was.
Yeah.
Basically, when you open up to people, and especially with this live platform, like we're streaming on X as well as Twitter. Excuse me, X. That is the same thing. Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Right now, we have over about 43 people in this chat. Somebody in that chat can relate to what you got going on.
Yeah.
So you opening up is helping another person's like, I can relate to this. I've been dealing with this, and it's going to help make them feel more comfortable with opening up, and then they'll go reach out to somebody that they feel safe to talk to, and it's going to be like a domino effect. Now you're helping this person, that person has helped you, and it goes down the line. So now you're feeling like I can help other people because that person helped me, and I like that effect because it makes people you gravitate towards those people because it's like I'm going to make you accountable for yourself, and I'm going to be accountable for me, and we're going to check in on each other and make sure we're going to stick to that.
Right. Yeah. And that's very important too. And I don't know how many what's the like youngest age that's in the chat, but I implore each and every one of you to find that one person that you can talk to about anything and won't be judged, you won't feel ashamed about doing it. I had the one person, he's passed away now, my father-in-law, but if I had a question about something, or if I'm working on a speech or whatever, I can actually call him at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and he'll be ready to talk to me. If he's asleep, he said, give me 2 minutes, and he's ready to talk. So and I knew I wasn't imposing on him, because when I say if I just ask him his question and he answers it, it's all, I mean, it's done. But he stays on the phone. He will stay on the phone with me until like he feels like I'm comfortable getting off the phone with him. So I employ everyone, find you someone, a friend, family member that you can really open up to and not be judged. And you guys know your family and friends better than anybody. So find you somebody that you can really like open up to, because it's very important, because you don't want to be, the last thing you want to happen is to go back into that shell where you have to keep your emotions bottled up again. Because once you go back in, it's very hard to get back out. Now, like I said before, I'm not experiencing any mental health issues, and I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers. But through what I have seen in my 55 years on this earth, is I can make it like a viable comment on, you know, what I have helped people with and how they've turned out. So find you somebody that you can talk to. A lot of us have mothers and fathers that are still living. They're the ones that you can go talk to. You know, I wouldn't, me myself, if my mom was still here, I would actually talk to her. She's going to be a little blunt with it too, though. But at the same time, my grandmother was the same way. You know, grandmama was more blunt than my mama. You know, I can ask her a question and they're not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's one of those things. Grandma, she, especially when it came to women, grandma didn't pull no punches. But at the same time, I knew where grandma was coming from. She got it to across the way that she got to get it through, and she made her point. So find somebody to talk to that you can actually benefit from, and not turn it into a laughing or joking matter, because that can become a distraction in itself, right? You won't get the answer that you're looking for, and all you did was just laugh yourself back into back to square one, right? I mean, it's good to laugh, it's good to smile, it's good to have fun, but you still need your answer. You got to have that answer. So find somebody that can come to you with impartial answers.
Love it. And 3:30, we're going to wrap this up with you. Then we're going to go ahead and start closing this on out. So just same question, you know, how to have that safe conversation.
Well, first, Maggie, you set this up real great. This was a great setup, because all of those other things leads up to this right here. To actually start having these conversations and you're feeling safe, of course, you got to be vulnerable. The masculinity is it's still, you know, that goes without question with us. You have to, if you're listening, I'm gonna use Debo for example. The reason
And
why
while you're
he
doing it,
was
let me
able to,
come in and come out because there's an echo on my end. So I'm gonna come in and
okay,
out, and I'll be right back. But keep going.
he was able to have the converse, that just that whole, this guy became vulnerable to him because of he led by example. And this young man knew for a fact that you heard them arguing constantly, but you never said anything. You waited, not necessarily for him to come to you, but you stayed where you needed to be for whatever. So he came to you because he saw that. Just like you heard them, he saw you. And he was able to have that conversation with you, and you led by example. Now, let me go to South Side. Shout out to South Side for, you know, saying what he said. But when I talk to people that say that, well, I got locked up, and you know, they kind of ashamed of being locked up or having financial issues or whatever, you know, I've always, when I talk to people, especially about going to prison, and I remind them the only difference between you going to prison and me not going, you got caught. So don't knock yourself for that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You got caught, bro. So I'm no better than you. So we can have this conversation, but I'm letting you know now, I'm not up here and you're down here. You just got caught and got convicted, and you did what you had to do. So that makes the conversation easy to have. It's safe on both sides if you don't put yourself out of range to either do the talking or be the listener. You know, you have to stay humble, stay vulnerable, and so the people can come and talk to you, or you talk to them. Because if you're talking to somebody and they always got a better way to do it, or they know somebody that's doing it better than you, or they got in worse trouble than you, they're not helping you. So you got to make sure that you're in the right place around the right people so that you can have these conversations and they not go tell your business and have other people talking about you. That's not going to help you. A lot of people say, well, you know, words ain't supposed to hurt you, but they do. Words do hurt. And you have to, all of this is about getting well. This is about identifying things, holding everything accountable. And then that's when you can start healing, when you can say out of your mouth what your faults are. Because if you hold them in, it's not going to do you any good because you're going to be in denial. And that's the only way that you can have these conversations safely, to just be vulnerable, and you might get some backlash on it, but that's okay. It'll work out in the end if you get around the right people.
Love it, love it. I'm glad that we went 3 hours. Wow.
And that's what these type conversations have. You can't just, you're not gonna do an hour show if you're talking mental illness. You can forget that.
Right. And the fact that everybody in the chat stuck around this length of time, I thank you. Please leave some feedback on this episode and everything else. So we're gonna get everybody's last thoughts, and then of course, you know, tell everybody how to find you. And then of course, I want to revisit this topic again at a later time. Maybe we can think of another way to talk about mental health. But I would love to have this conversation again. And if you are late to the show, rewind this back because there's a lot of things that you got from it that I learned from each individual person. Look at me, I'm messing up. But take this, learn from it, and open up. It's better to it being out than in. You'll feel better. So I see a comment right here. Now I ain't got caught. My ex-homie threw me under the bus when he got caught in a whole nother situation. And it's the surrounding, just like 3 Dirty said. The people that you know you're surrounded with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirmation.
There you go. But you're no longer hanging with that person. You're being a better person at this point, and you're moving on from that. That's like I said, the past is the
Absolutely.
past, but what you do to take accountability and do better is most important from this point. So have that comfortable conversation, open up, but listen to it though. Follow through with it and do better. You're doing yourself a disservice. You can talk about it, but you're not doing anything to change that.
Exactly.
So, on that note, we're going to start with Debo. Please, last thoughts and let everybody know where to find you.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, Maggie, hey, top notch. You already know what the deal is. You did it. You did it again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to leave y'all with this. I'm going to leave y'all with this quick story. Hopefully it won't take number like 90 seconds, but it evolves around what your worth is and what you can do in this world. So story goes like this. So somebody, an individual was laid to rest. They were laid to rest, right? This individual had all kind of things going on in their mind that they wanted to do in this world, but they didn't have the courage to actually let people know what their ideas were. Unfortunately, they were laid to rest with their ideas. The person died, made a transition to heaven. The body was laid to rest. The body's laid to rest. Dirt poured in, the dirt on it, all that good stuff. As the body laid there in the coffin, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of ideas that individual held in their body start to come out of them. Slowly but surely come out to them. So you got this body in the coffin with thousands of ideas. All the ideas looked at the body and shook their head. And they said, "Why did you do this to us?" Because you weren't bold enough and brave enough and confident in yourself and your ability. All the ideas that you had for a world that you didn't want to give, we are them. And now we are trapped in here with you forever. I'll say this. Anybody out there who has an idea, who needs to express themselves, who needs to just release it. Do it. Nobody in this world was meant to be average. You're meant to be an anti-average. Show the world what you got. You're one of one. Don't you ever, ever let somebody tell you can't do it, because you can. I have mental health issues, particularly after my cancer. There's other people out there who have it, but you can do anything that you can. Just put your mind to it. That goes out for everybody looking at this right here. That goes out to everybody listening. Show the world what you got. Don't let any kind of ailment get to you, whether it be homelessness, cancer, abuse, all that.
Right.
And hopefully that will help somebody out. That's what I got right there.
Awesome. Outstanding.
And to piggyback that just a little bit and throw in again something from my own experiences, as I say, I can dwell on what I've been through, what it's done to me, and what I've had to rebuild. But I was thinking about it. I came up with this epithet myself. It was from the context of guitar, but I guess you could broaden it to all of life. And it's one that I'll leave you with tonight. And it would be something along the lines of, I may not be as good as I once was, but I'm as bad today as I ever will be again. That's something you need to live by. I don't care how far down the hill you go. you can still climb back up. They're the hills and valleys. That's it.
Yeah. You muted.
I shouldn't be. Can you hear me okay?
No, Miss
Okay,
Maggie was
sorry
muted.
about that.
No, Maggie. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was muted. My internet was acting weird, so I'm sorry. But I wanted to say something to you, Debo. That message was beautiful. Basically,
Yeah.
don't hold stuff in. Don't take it to the last day. Just get it out. Whatever the dream is, whatever you got going, don't worry about it. Just get it out there. Achieve it.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then of course, Will, beautiful message as well. No matter how bad you fall down, it's all about getting back up. How can they find you, Will?
Well, I'm pretty much everywhere at this point. I'm like a bad smell. I refuse to go away. But no, if you want to find me, I'll be on everything that AFN's doing. You'll also find Des and I on a new channel at the SF Sports. So we'll be doing the Scottish Falcons show season 2 kicking off very, very soon. I've also got some real spill coming up on my solo channel, so just search Will the Thrill Waddle if you're looking for that. I've got a lot of stuff coming up pertaining to a lot of different things. So there's going to be some music, some combat sports, a little bit of the broader NFL, because between you guys and I haven't quite done my homework as I should have done on the combine. So that's where I'm going to be the next few days, but not right now because it's currently 4 a.m. So if you want to find me, I may be quiet for a few hours while I catch up on some sleep.
Will, get some sleep. That's what you need.
No,
Sleep.
as I say, like it was good that I came on tonight, because especially when you are struggling, to still peel the band-aid off and to be as candid as we have been tonight, it's not. Has it been an easy show? No, but it's been a fantastic one, and I feel like we've all came out stronger from it. I hope that, as Maggie says, I hope that y'all in the chat can take something from this as well, and if we can be there for you, you know what to do. As I say, not to put it bluntly, but we'd rather read your help message than your obituary. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it.
Maggie, I'm so sorry. I was so caught up in, getting my word. I forgot to let people know where they can find me.
Right.
So,
Where did you find you?
I'm saying? I was so caught up in the word, you know what I'm saying? But y'all can find me, Debo Vibes on YouTube, Debo Vibes on TikTok, The Real Debo Vibes on Instagram. What I do, well, not so much Falcons now because it's off season, but thank God we got the Ladybirds of AFN, and they take care of that. You know what I'm talking about? So any kind of, you know what I'm saying?
It's
Anything
hard.
going up, it go real. Your boy, I'm on South Side of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in Clinton County, Georgia. So I'm a foodie. So I do food videos. I try to do at least one a week, focusing on the South Side. And the great eateries down here. So if you're a foodie, if you love food, or even give some recommendations, hit your boy up, Debo Vibes on YouTube, The Real Debo Vibes on Instagram, Debo Vibes on TikTok, and all that good stuff. So that's where y'all can find me right there.
All right. And before we get to Pandemic and 330, this South Side here, because this is what's important here. Great show. I gained some knowledge on how to better handle my mental stability in tough situations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's my motto.
Awesome.
If I can change the life of one person or touch somebody, I've done my job.
Yes.
So Southside, commend to you to just being so open to speak about that. And of course, come back. This is Kandid Room, and I'll tell you all about that in a minute. But Pandemic, same thing.
Ma'am.
Your last thoughts and where to find you.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you really having me on part of this discussion. I mean, this is one that I really couldn't wait to be a part of. I know when I reached out to you after the Rundell situation, I started working on my content then. I didn't share all my notes, but I mean, when I do my video, I will do it. When I do my short, they will be in there. So look forward to those as well. But like Debo said earlier in the podcast, right? Being real, keeping real, being real with yourself. Let's start there, right? Once you do that, realize what you need to do. And I'm going to take it back to the country on y'all, old school. Once you realize what you need to assess, right? You take it to the closet. Get on your knees, take it to the closet. I mean, I don't care what your religion is, you take it to the closet, because you're not going to be able to address nothing and understand or comprehend anything until you first take it to the closet, right? And I didn't do that initially because I know a lot of people don't like going that route, but at the same time, you have to. There's something about your mindset where you can get somewhere and be quiet. Right, it's something about that mindset when you have time to reflect, right? And I hate keep throwing James Pierce Jr. under the bus, but that 5-6 hour flight that he took from California to Florida, that was his time to reflect, and that's what we need to take time to. You got to address yourself before you start addressing something else. You have to give time for things to happen, right? Because sometimes the things happen for our better good. You know what I mean? So once you take it to the closet, then you come out looking for help, right? And you will be led the right way. You will be led the right way. Like me, I pray about it first, whatever situation I come about. And usually 98.9% of the time, if I take it to the closet first, I'm coming out with the answer that I need, of the avenue of where I need to go. So take it there first. But every man that keeps it real with himself and be honest about his mental health, he makes the world a safer place for him, his family, his friends, and the people sitting next to him. You are essentially, like Will said earlier, you are essentially paving that road so that the next man don't have to trek that same mud by himself. They can come to you looking for answers. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. And with that, I'm saying, come out, reach out to me. I'm on Atlanta Falcons Fandemic on YouTube, on Facebook. Look out for this channel that's I'm about to start now. Fandemic Sports Fix. Look out for that channel to jump off as well. With that channel, I'm addressing Atlanta Hawks, Braves baseball, even the Kentucky Derby. So guys, look out for that channel to jump off too. And I'm trying to get my wife to start a movie channel with me, because we are movie critic. We love watching movies. So I'm trying to get her to jump in and start a channel with that as well, because I know a lot of people like to talk about movies, and we would love to be able to share our input on a lot of these movies too.
Quick question. What's your favorite?
Bet on that. We ain't done working together. You want to talk movies? Get at me sometime, boy. We can make that happen.
Hey, country. Hey.
I can do that.
Quick question. Quick question. Your favorite 1990s movie?
1990s?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You gotta pick one.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. 1990s. I'm gonna go with Paid in Full. I'm going Paid in Full. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was pretty much a genre during that time. So it was.
I got you.
And I had a couple of friends that grew up in my neighborhood that were actually in that movie. Well, okay. In the intro to that movie. So it was a movie that hit home too. So like I said, it was a movie of the times too. So one of those movies like Boy in the Hood that grows with you, right?
Right.
But, But yeah, y'all look out for me to start jumping off some stuff, because I mean, I don't got hooked on this podcast stuff. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it.
Right.
Shout out to people like the AFN and Big Will, who got these, and Debo yourself as well, and to start these different avenues of reaching out to people. I've been on 3 Dirty to telling him, hey, you need to go ahead and get started, man. I mean, he has the voice. He has the voice. He has the knowledge.
Bad light, don't you?
So
for what it's worth, man, like if you're nervous about it, then the AFN can give you that floor, and that's something that, as I say, I can speak from experience as well, because back in the day, that's how I got started. Was me and Maggie started chatting because she found out that I was a Falcons fan, and it just got going from there. Now it's got to the point where I'm able to perform that same service, and as we said earlier, kind of pave that road. So Yeah, if you want to, if you've got the space, or rather, if you've got the time, we've got the space. So yeah, don't be a stranger, brother.
Absolutely,
Love what you do.
absolutely. And 3:30. Let's not talk about getting started, because you should have seen when I first got started. I had the little $5 earplugs in, and I actually took that movie down once I got started doing the real stuff. So, but yeah, y'all look out for a lot more stuff coming out from me. I even have one that has Cowboy Talks. So it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. Cowboy Talks is gonna be one of those ones that's similar to this platform right here, Kandid Room, where I address life situations and different topics that we face as adults too. So look out for that as well. I appreciate everyone that joined us in the chat. Shout out to you guys, man. Y'all kept us going here. We love sharing your comments. We love your input, and hopefully one or two or three, if not all of you, got something out of this podcast. We love doing it, and hopefully we can come back and revisit it and do a part 2 of it. Because like I said, it's a lot of information that could be shared. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Absolutely. And 3:30, last but not least, let's go ahead and close it on out. Your last thoughts, and we're gonna be finding you somewhere on somebody's streaming platform soon.
Hey man, you know where I'm at. I'm just the OG in the chat. Right. I'm everywhere. Debo, when I come to Atlanta quite a bit, seeing relatives and going to the Falcon football game. So that was one of the things that I started doing to kind of for therapy for these losses that we be going through. So you know what I'm saying? I come to Atlanta and I try to do something different, right? So I need for you, especially during the football season, to do your little eatery things and show me a spot where I need to check out when I come down there.
I got your back. I absolutely. Just you use a number of words. Let me know what the deal is. I got you, bro.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, when you come up, let me know, man. I'm always willing to get out. So at least when my wife give me permission anyway. So
hey, being vulnerable again, right?
There you go.
Seriously though, I'm always out, man. So whenever you get up, just let me know, man. Just let me know. I make time. Right. We'll go get something. Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah, I'm glad to meet up with you. I've met quite a few content creators. I try to meet them all, man, because this was when I first discovered that they were actually people on the YouTube, because I'm not on the other platforms that were actually talking Falcon football. Oh man, that was great therapy. Just like especially when I'm driving, because it's like 7 hours of driving from where I am to Atlanta. So I'm up there and I'm binging on that. But getting back to the mental health thing, man, this was great. Maggie, you can't leave them hanging. You just hit the tip of the iceberg right here.
Right.
You probably got at least 16 more shows on this alone.
Right.
We haven't even talked about the coping mechanisms and how you maneuver through individual situations, because it's so many. So pandemic.
Yes, sir.
The number one thing about what people have to be able to do when they're triggered, they have to have the tools.
Absolutely.
To combat that. Like JPJ, his mama was there with him. He didn't even talk to mama.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True indeed. Indeed.
There's a disconnect there too. And I'm using that as an example that everybody can see. There's a disconnect. He couldn't even talk. He didn't even say, Mama, I'm tripping about this girl. I ain't trying, she don't want to talk to me. I need some help. Talk to me, Mama. So he did what he been doing. And that's a lot of times people are left to fend for themselves.
Exactly.
And everybody up here and in the chat know, every time you fend it for yourself on situations like this, dealing with your mentality, it didn't come out good.
Right.
It didn't come out good. So, a lot of, and I get a little bit discouraged when people like, especially these young guys, right? They say, "Oh man, these guys got a lot of money and they did this, and this."
Yeah.
They don't have the tools. They got the money,
Yeah.
they got the fame, but they don't have the tools.
Right.
Yeah. And this
And that's
brings me back
important.
to a great
And
quote from Dabo Swinney as well. He says that I don't care if you're coaching national champions every season. If you're not preparing these kids to be good husbands, good fathers, and sound young men, you're a loser.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you know, and that's what happened. And I feel for people when they get on in those situations because they didn't have the tools.
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
couldn't even talk themselves out of, you know, buying the plane ticket, getting on the plane,
Right. Right.
flying the
Right.
5 hours, go get a vehicle, and then doing that. That's a cry for help, right? You know, so that's why I'm saying, Maggie, you got this platform. You got us up here. I'll come every time. I'll get up here every time because I haven't even touched on nothing that I've done. I got a whole lot. I'll probably be crying. You probably be crying. You know what I'm saying? Everybody.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. Vulnerability.
Crying.
You know
You know what I'm saying? So,
That's how you know it was overdue. 3 hours and we haven't even scratched the surface. So
Right.
bet we can bring this one back.
Yeah.
Look, ain't nobody crying, so we ain't even got deep yet.
Yeah. That much is true.
Because I
Yeah,
shared
it's true.
I think we was kind of like,
Yeah.
let me keep it together.
But I told y'all,
we just,
I was like,
just not opening up.
my heart beating, man. My heart beating. I let y'all know I might have to go take the camera off.
Yeah,
You know. But yeah, you just hit the tip of the iceberg right here. And there's a lot of people out here, man, that need this, and they might be able to relate to this, the video type where they can just listen. You know, they might not have nobody else. The internet is a good and a bad thing. The internet has managed to bring those people that used to be in the shadows out. And the internet has also allowed people to hear things that they need to hear that they couldn't hear from nobody else.
Right.
You know, the environment that they were in, they wasn't offering this kind of knowledge. Because you're talking about 5 people that's opened up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you gonna find that at?
And healthy, comfortable conversations where we was able to, it didn't lead into an argument or anything like that. Everybody was able to express themselves and was able to get their opportunity to say it without someone judging them. And, you know, so that's why I want this platform to just feel safe for everybody. They can come in and be whoever they want to be, leave it here, get something from it, and then feel better the next day.
And I'm saying one more thing.
We 5 are closer for it than we were 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And that's where the benefit really resides. It's not, you're not going to breed contempt, you're not going to breed resentment, or you're not going to be laughed at, and that's what we need to put across. And this is bigger than just football, because we hate them ain'ts, but it's some things are bigger than football. So in all honesty, whoever you may support, if you're watching us and you feel some kind of way, like, reach out, be brave, be strong, because at the end of the day, it's not it's not a drawback to seek help. It's, you just need to straighten the car out a little bit, that's all.
But one more thing. Contrary to probably people didn't know, and I'm glad Maggie was able to say it, therapists have therapists.
Right.
People think that therapists don't have therapists because they are all, but how can they take in all of this trauma and not have to release it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that right there alone is, because somebody might say, well, hey, Maggie G trying to life coach somebody and she's saying she's going through.
Right.
Yeah.
My therapist told me that. She said, no, you're there. I need to release and express myself because, of course, you are taking in a lot of people's trauma and things like that. And I'm an empath. So if that person's feeling bad, it's going to affect me, or of course my work life, my home life. Putting all that in, you got to decompress all of that, and talking to a therapist helps you also cope through all of that to help other people.
Right.
Yeah, someone's got to watch the Watchmen at the end of the day. I mean, as you say, like, QB needs his coach. So even when, especially when you're opening yourself up to that world and quite so much, and there's only so much you can see and you can endure. So we appreciate that, obviously, although you've set this up for us gents, it's been really good to get more of an insight into how you feel, and how you kind of do this thing on a daily basis as well, because that's one thing that personally I do need to work on, and it's a discussion again we've had before, is ironing out some of those consistency issues. But you already know, if I can be here, I'll be here.
Right.
So.
Right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will definitely come back to this topic, because like you said, we ain't even talked about how to cope, how to get through it. I mean, we ain't even, like you said, scratch the surface.
How you move forward.
How do you move forward past, like, once you're healing, you're feeling better. Speaking of,
hello,
go ahead, screenshot that, everybody. I want y'all. This is Maggie T's mental health and wellness coaching. Get in here, and I talk about, we do behavioral coaching, integrative mental health coaching, life coaching, and some reason lately it's been relationship coaching with a lot of my clients.
You better get it in.
Everybody's having some issues. So, but you can find me at Canly.com at Maggie T. Mental Health and Wellness is simple, or call me, but please call me about business, 470-496-6903. Or you can email me at maggietproductions@gmail.com. Find me on social media too. If you just inbox, Will tell you I'm always an open person. I will talk with you if I got the time, and you can book with me. You got a free consultation first. So it's a 30-minute consultation. I kind of figure out what your needs are. We'll work on a plan, and then after that, we'll start having our coaching sessions. Okay. All right. On that note, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all again. Maggie T Productions and Lady Bird.
No. Hold on. Hey, everybody, hold on.
Get a Debo.
Maggie T. Maggie T Productions.
Get a Debo.
Maggie.
What I do?
What you didn't do. You did everything. You did everything. So with that being said, panel and everybody watching in the chat, everybody gonna watch a replay. Give Maggie T a round of applause, man. Come on. The Kandid Room, man. The Kandid Room. The Kandid Room, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell us that this is the third time in the Kandid Room, and it's never disappointed. And this is the first time we had a bunch of dudes on here. And the great thing about the Kandid Room is that it allows people, man and woman, to express themselves indiscriminately and let our thoughts be known. So that's why when you give me the invite, I was on it. But not on top of that, you know what I'm saying, I got, you know what I'm saying, Widow Thrill, 3 Dirty, Cowboy coming on. We never talk. Now we're friends for life.
Right.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Connected. So shout out to Maggie T. Shout out to Maggie T.
Okay, then. I was like, what I do?
That's why I reached out to her. I knew she would put this thing together and to get done right. So
right.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. And we're gonna come together on that one, because of course I came with the structure of this one, but I want everybody's feedback on things that we need to focus on that we missed here. So and also wanted to say this is on audio too. So after this show airs, I'm gonna download it, and it's gonna be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere. So you can actually listen to it on your way to work if you missed it, or of course come back to YouTube and rewatch. But good night, people. It's go to bed. Especially you, Will. It's 4 a.m. Deuces, people. And see y'all tomorrow on Lady Birds of AFN at 8 p.m. We doing this all over again tomorrow. All right. Good night.
Good night.
I'm tired. Peace, people.